Welcome into a Tuesday edition of Running Point on ysnlive.com. Ron Potesta with you, riding solo today as the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning hotline is open. 330-886-0813. That's 330-886-0813. Indians lose last night to the Minnesota Twins. They drop a 3-2 decision to the Twinks. The Indians had 12 hits. Unfortunately, 1 for 9 with runners in scoring position. Their situational hitting is god-awful. Their output offensively is god-awful. The Indians are now 14 of their first 29 games that have been played this year. The Indians have scored 2 or fewer runs. I want to repeat that because to me, this is mind-boggling. In a league in which you should be able to score a bunch of runs, in a league in which the pitching under normal circumstances really isn't all that great, the Indians have scored 2 or fewer runs in 14 of their 29 games. Now, in 14 of their 29 games, the Indians have also scored 4 or more runs. So how about we break this down, and then we'll get to the guest list for today. When the Indians score 2 runs or less, the Indians have a beautiful record of 4 wins and 10 losses. 4-10. When the Indians score 4 or more runs, the Indians have a 12-2 record. There's a stark difference. And I have said, if the Indians can score 4 runs a night, consistently score 4 runs a night, it's the best team in baseball. 12-2? Yeah, I'll take that. I'll take that in a heartbeat. Now, unfortunately, they wasted a wonderful performance by Aaron Savali. Not a great performance, but a solid performance. Bullpen was solid as usual. Unfortunately, as I said, the Indians 1 for 9 with runners in scoring position. They did a god-awful job situational hitting. Late in the game, I think it was in the 8th inning, they had a runner at second base, nobody out. And not only could they not get the runner to third base, obviously they couldn't get the runner home. Now, this is a pet peeve of mine. This is definitely a pet peeve of mine. If you got a runner at second base and nobody out, there are no excuses. 0 zippity-doo-dah excuses to get that runner from second to third base. And I understand this is a game and a culture now in which you're either homering or you're striking out by and large. And it's not just the Indians, it's everywhere in Major League Baseball. There's a reason why strikeouts are at an all-time high. I believe it's somewhere around 25, 26% throughout Major League Baseball, which is a ridiculously stupid number. Situational hitting has not been really hammered home to today's culture of Major League Baseball. What I mean by situational hitting, all right, runner at second base, nobody out. What do you want to do? Well, the first thing you want to do is make sure that that guy goes from second base to third base. Now, you may not be able to do it on your own. I mean, hell, the pitcher could throw a wild pitch. The catcher could let one get away. Now the runner's at third base. And it makes your job, you the hitter, easier. But if you got a runner at second base and nobody out, especially if you're a left-handed hitter, how you can't roll one on the right side of the infield, give up your at-bat, roll one on the right side of the infield, and, I don't know, put the runner at third. And if you do that immediately, now you got a runner at third with one out. Guess what can happen? Well, he can score on a pass ball. He can score on a wild pitch. Hey, he can score on a fly ball deep enough in the outfield. It's called a sacrifice fly. I know. It's small ball, and, well, those words are taboo in today's Major League. No. We can't play small ball. No. God forbid that we would play small ball in baseball, in today's culture of Major League Baseball. God forbid we would actually, I don't know, play baseball instead of the shit that we're seeing today. Because all this about, well, I'm going to get a base hit or I'm going to hit one out of the yard. Okay. Except when you strike out and the guy's still at second base, worst thing you could have done. It's the worst thing you could have done. Hell, I just assume you roll a ball over on the right side of the infield, get the guy from second to third base. I've said this on a number of occasions. If a guy goes 0 for 4, but in 2 of those 4 at-bats, he moved a runner from second base to third, or he moved a runner into scoring position for the next guy or the following guy to drive him in, that 0 for 4 night isn't a bad night at all. It's actually a productive night, and that's something that you won't see in the statistics, which is why, for me, stats are for losers, pretty much. Yes, they don't tell the whole story. You cannot base everything on statistics because then this is a classic example. You just can't. If a guy goes 0 for 4, but he moves 2 runners into scoring position, he's done a pretty damn good job. And why on God's green earth that people are not doing this in Major League Baseball, I don't know if it's because, you don't want the small ball mentality. I don't know, but it pisses me off. It really does. And the Indians don't exactly have a good offense. So if you don't really have a good offense, I don't know, even though you don't like small ball, putting a runner from second to third base so a guy can hit a fly ball deep enough to score that run, aces in my book. Absolutely horrendous. And you blow another golden opportunity with this pitching staff. And now Wednesday's game is absolutely vital because the Indians, they got to take 2 out of 3 in order to gain ground on the Twins. They're now 2.5 games back. And, oh, by the way, Chicago White Sox are tied with the Indians for second place, which means whoever's in third place at the end of the year is probably getting a 7 or an 8 seed. Sorry about your luck. You got to finish in the top 2. And I said this all along, the White Sox are going to be there. They're going to be there because that train, it's on the track, and it's starting to roll, and that is a dangerous, dangerous team in the south side of Chicago. And they are starting to play some really good baseball. By the way, White Sox hosting the Pirates. Pirates fresh off their sweep of Milwaukee. Let's see if the Bucks can win 4 games in a row and help the Indians along the way. Giolito on the hill for the White Sox. Should be an entertaining game in the South End. Comiskey Park, I don't even know what the hell they call it now. Who cares? It'll always be Comiskey to me. The Indians' middle game of the series, Bieber on the hill tonight for the Tribe. Wednesday, I don't think it's going to be Adam Plutko. I mean, now that the Indians lost their first game, there's no way in hell you put Adam Plutko on the hill. Let me give you some numbers that back up the theory that Adam Plutko should be a relief pitcher. When Adam Plutko faces a lineup, first time through the order, batting average is .229. That's pretty solid. That's pretty solid. .229 first time through the order. So you're facing 9 guys, and collectively those 9 guys, first time through the order, hitting .229. That's a solid number. Except when they see Plutko the second time through the order, they're now hitting .423. Ouch. .423 is not going to get it done, kids. Adam Plutko is not a starter. He is a reliever. He is a long reliever. You can get him in there for 2+ innings, maybe 3 innings if he retires 9 men in a row, but you better get his ass out of there after the first go around through the order because Plutko is going to get murdered the second time around. Now look at Carlos Carrasco. Cookie, first time through the order this year. Teams are hitting a $171. Solid. Really solid. Second time through the lineup. Teams are hitting a $184. Again, solid. Very solid. Third time through the lineup, they're hitting $350. Carrasco is probably a 6-inning pitcher max now. Can't take him through the 6th inning. Past the 6th, I should say. Cookie should probably be no more than 6 innings, unless he's cruising, and then even then, come the 7th inning, unless you got a large lead, I would probably have someone warming in the pen because, again, third time through the lineup, a $350 average. That's what opposing teams are hitting. So food for thought. Carrasco, 6-inning type of pitcher. But getting back to Wednesday, good luck on trying to figure out who's going to pitch Wednesday. You could bring Clevenger up. Okay. We'll get to him in a little bit. I at some point during the show, we're definitely going to talk about the advantages of trading away Mike Clevenger. And Jason Lloyd wrote an article in The Athletic that I disagree with. He's saying that Clevenger should be kept at least for this year and traded in the offseason. Look, the Indians are in desperate need of a bat or two. And if we can get a bat or two, and I'm saying we as an Indians fan, if the Indians can get a bat or two by trading away a Mike Clevenger, I'm fine with that. I'm definitely fine with that. All right, coming up today, in a matter of moments, we are going to chat with John Mang. He is the commissioner of the Mahoning Valley Athletic Conference. He is also the commissioner of the Mahoning Valley Referees. And we will get his 2 cents, not only on the MVAC, but also what's going on with the officiating and what we can expect. We've had a shortage for a number of years. Be very interesting to see just how horrible this shortage is and how many of these people have bowed out in the corona world in which we live in. How many of these referees have said, I'm not comfortable refereeing this year, I'm going to bow out. We already have a shortage. What does this mean? Well, we'll catch up with John Mang in a couple of minutes. Dana Balish, who normally joins us at 1 o'clock on Mondays, is going to be tuning in today. We're calling in today as he was unavailable yesterday, so we'll get him on today at 1 o'clock. And we'll hear from South Range head football coach Dan Yegley at 1:20, and we're efforting a guest at 2 o'clock. All right, coming up next, John Mang. He is the guru of officiating, and he's also the commissioner of the Mahoning Valley Athletic Conference. We'll hear from John Mang coming up after this timeout. It is a Tuesday edition of Running Point on ysnlive.com.
21 News.
Let's get right to our top story tonight.
More experienced reporters.
A new Wilmington restaurant.
GM Lordstown.
Telling more local stories.
We'll look at efforts
Boy
to
is
curb
recovering from a broken
around our
Good
valley.
Community in
afternoon.
Niles
We are here in Youngstown, right up.
Because you expect
It's important for everyone.
No place like home.
more local news.
In Mercer County
Before
Court.
they become life threatening.
21 News is our valley's #1 local news.
Welcome home to a home made homier with Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods. Inspiration starts at BairdBrothers.com and is turned into reality when high-quality hardwoods are delivered right to your home. Baird Brothers has the latest design trends, shiplap and skinny lap interior siding, antique oak rustic flooring, and, well, you'll find them all at BairdBrothers.com. Ordered easily, delivered conveniently, enjoyed comfortably. BairdBrothers.com.
Hello, I'm Greg Burbick with G. Burbick Farms. For the last 100 years, my family has farmed in Columbiana and Mahoning counties. I began raising cattle in 1996 with the goal of providing a better product for you and your family on the dinner table. Our grass-fed and grain-supplemented Black Angus beef are raised with no hormones, steroids, or antibiotics. We're known for our hometown-friendly service and incredible tasting products. We're locally owned and have customers across the tri-state area. Our products go from our farm to your family. Stop by our farm on New Buffalo Road or visit us on the web at gburbickfarms.com. Don't forget to like us on Facebook. G. Burbick Farms, it just tastes better.
It's a Tuesday edition of Running Point on ysnlive.com. Yep, we're 5 days a week. This is the first day, I guess, since I'm Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays from the beginning of this experiment. Now we're on 5 days a week. So this is the first time I'm here on a Tuesday. Things are weird around here on a Tuesday. I got people painting stuff and getting ready for the high school football and all the stuff that's going to be happening on Friday here in the YSN studios. Speaking of football, let's talk to a guy that is in football mode. He is the president of the Youngstown Umpires Association, the Mahoning Valley umpires, but in baseball, but he is also very much in high school football as well. He's the commissioner of the Mahoning Valley Athletic Conference, and he is also very much responsible for high school referees in the Mahoning Valley. He is a very important part of high school athletics in the Mahoning Valley. He is John Mang, and he joins me on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline. John, how are you today, sir?
I'm doing well, Ron, and I appreciate you having me on. Looking forward to chatting with you for a few minutes.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so we're in a COVID world, and I know that you were pulling your hair out during baseball season, trying to figure out who was going to be in and who was going to refuse calling balls and strikes from behind the plate and instead going behind the pitcher's mound. Well, we're still in a COVID world, and I'm just curious, being that for the last few years we have had a severe shortage in officials in all sports. What is the landscape like in the COVID world for this high school football season and some of the fall sports, John?
Well, I know we're highlighting football, which we'll stay on it, but also in fall sports we have volleyball, which is a big part of our culture in the Northeast Ohio here with the high school student athletes. So we'll go with both of them, but the fall sports, somehow we're getting off the ground with it. The Governor DeWine has given the okay, and just like in baseball, softball, Ron, because you were part of that being an umpire, that the schedules have been revised and moved and everything. Well, unfortunately, the spring never got off the ground, but it's been a big change for our football, especially because of the guidelines and revisions. We're starting the season off the first 6 weeks with the new schedule of regular football, and then we go into our playoffs on October 9th, and those teams that continue will go to the end of it. But all teams are allowed to play their 10 games of regular season, plus whatever they do in the playoffs, plus the season has been actually extended until about the middle of November, which I think you were aware of. So my position as the Mahoning Valley Athletic Conference, I'm very, very fortunate to have the superintendents and the principals and the athletic directors I have, because just like every other conference, they've been really proactive, and their main concerns are the student athletes and their families, and probably the biggest challenge that they have, not only the virus and everything else, they do everything by the state regulations and by our county health departments. But the biggest, probably one of the biggest issues they have, and I just wish that all of the spectators and fans would understand that everything as far as tickets for events is mandated by the state, and they're just going by the rules. And our biggest concern is make sure that our student athletes and their families get tickets prior to anybody else. So that's what we're doing, and no phones are ringing off the hook because of the most of our facilities in the MVAC. We don't have those luxury of 20,000 seat stadiums, so I'd say most of them are between 400 and 500 at the most. That's for home and visitors. So you can see that they have their hands full. And getting back to the officials, with COVID going on, many of the local football meetings and volleyball. Volleyball in a few areas have had in-person meetings, but the football has had a few, but the majority of them are online, which is supplied by the interpreters through the OSSAA. And they, as you know, Ron, as in baseball and softball, all of our officials are mandated to make 4 meetings local, and they have to do a state meeting online. So we're in a world right now of online. I would like to have, I couldn't even guess how many Zoom meetings that I've been involved in, and I'm sure every superintendent in the area has been on one probably every day. But that's the communications. Nobody wants to take a chance for getting together and having any issues with this COVID. So getting back to some of the questions that we talked about, now this is just John Mang as an assigner in the area. This is not other assigners, but I have 169 volleyball officials that I assign, and these aren't all full-time officials. Some do a couple of days a week, some do weekends, some do Monday through Thursday. Everybody's schedules vary because of work schedules or commitments. So, but I looked through, I just browsed through the other night to see how many officials that have not come back this year. And there's out of 169, I lost 26 officials. I've gotten many a personal call from known officials for a lot of years. The officials are worried about not only themselves, but they're concerned about their family members. If somebody has an illness where they would be more apt to get the virus than others because of their health, themselves, even the officials themselves. We have in all sports, we have an older workforce as far as the officials themselves. So everybody is concerned about this virus, and I think the only good thing is I've said at every meeting I go to, and I'm an assigner for 40-some schools, so I go to listen to a lot of meetings. But when you have more questions than answers, you're always going to have issues, and that's exactly what's going on with this virus. The football officials had a meeting last night, and they were concerned about Friday night football. When I say concerned, they're concerned because they just want to make sure they're on the same page as all the schools that they attend for Friday night. And there's going to be a communication, which usually is anyway, between the athletic director and a crew chief of the football crews to more or less go through a game procedure that they expect and will try to adhere to for every Friday night. But to begin with, the big change, I think, is in the football officials and volleyball, and I mean, they go dressed anyway, but football officials this year, for the most part, will go dressed to all of the facilities that I'm aware of. I don't know how many facilities are opening up their locker rooms. A lot of the MVAC schools, they have locker rooms for all they have a space for all the officials, but it's not the COVID 6-foot rule, and they don't want to take a chance of not being under state guidelines. So they've made adjustments where they may have you'll meet the referees, the officials at the gate. They'll bring them in, and they may have a holding area where they can have a pregame and everything. But most officials come together in their pregames prior to the game. They all know each other. It's not like years ago when every official come from another area and you work together. One person works a position all the time, no matter what league he's in. But to make it short, the officials will meet the athletic director or whoever is appointed to take care of the officials. They will go to an area where it's by state rule, state guidelines, that they'll be okay space-wise. They'll go out. They'll be escorted, of course, out for the pregame with the coaches. Prior to the game, they will have an area somewhere close to the. Now I'm talking about the MVAC, but they'll have a place close to the football field itself where they can come onto the field to start have the kickoff. Probably one of the things. Well, I don't know how many leagues did it, Ronnie, but the MVAC, we voted to have a 12-minute half. I still believe it's still 20 minutes. With the OHSA, you can go up to 20. But we're going to have a 12-minute half. And the reason for this is none of our, when I say this, I say it with a sad heart, none of our bands or visiting bands will be traveling. The bands this year will only be at their home games, and the cheerleaders also. But we're going to, and plus at halftime, it was a good time for concessions, and I believe that most of our schools have agreed they're going to have just maybe like pop water and candy bars, but there's not going to be any food there. Although I don't know for sure if everybody's going to do that. It was hard for everybody from talking over the last few weeks. It was tough to put your volunteers at every school. Didn't want to actually be exposed to people with handling money and all that stuff at a concession stand. So we're doing the most safest thing we can do. There were some schools in the area that I'm affiliated with that was going to go with fair food vendors. But first week we'll know exactly what's going on. But at the MVAC itself, we'll have a 12-minute half. We feel that's safer for the kids as far as with the virus going on. We'll start the second half. I don't know if all the players are going into the locker rooms or what. I think that's yet to be seen. I know everybody's trying to accommodate them, but we'd like to have them out in an outside area. I think you know that the state went with a new rule change for the sidelines, that they can go from the 10 to the 10, the players. So that way they would be able to get to 6 foot spacing. All the coaches have to wear masks, according to the OSSAA. If you see the officials on the field, it's an option if they wear them or not. Matter of fact, I had a couple calls about volleyball. They were concerned that some of the officials weren't wearing a mask. Well, it's optional. The only thing that they say in volleyball is they request or suggest that they wear a mask when they have the pregame with the coaches. But same thing with so if you see officials on the field, if you're lucky enough to attend the game, or the best way is with YSN, and this isn't a plug, I don't even know, I'm not familiar with everybody that works there, but I do know that they run a good ship, and the Mahoning Valley Athletic Conference went with YSN this year to broadcast games to help a lot of the fans in the area to be able to watch the game that's streamlined, and they can watch all of their football games on YSN if they can't attend the match or the games. So that's our best alternative. But getting back to the football game, everything is for the kids. All the safety measures, the players in our league, the football, we'll just say, but it's for all athletes. They are given a temperature check prior to them getting on the bus to come to their site, so that everybody's got everything on paper that they were given their temperature check and that, and documented before they get on the bus, so that way there's not any commotion when they get to the site where they're playing the game at. I know that everybody is all prepaid tickets. There will be no walk-up purchases for tickets. The two athletic directors that are involved with that game that particular night will come up with numbers that they can sell the fans from both schools. We're trying to keep it, and believe me, they are doing everything they can to keep it to the family members first, and that's what it is. And if there's anything extra, they will sell them to the public, I'm sure, whichever means they're going to do it. And I give you a perfect example. Larry Sammartino down in Lowville and their administrators just felt with Lowville's stadium, their capacity would have been limited, and they moved their games over to Struthers. And most of their games will be on Saturday night, I believe, maybe a Friday, but they've done everything they could to accommodate more of their fan base to attend the game. So hats off to everybody. Honestly, it's been a challenge for everyone, and I just really pray that these kids and the coaches and everybody involved can possibly have a season uninterrupted, but because of this terrible disease that's going around. But the football, as far as the officials, I have 322 football officials on my books as far as assigning games to. And it's the same number as the volleyball, but there's more officials in football. But 26 have not, they've opted out not to officiate this year. And for the same reasons, their health, their family's health, or whatever, they don't want to take a chance of bringing any of this home with them to be positive.
All right, John, so lots to unpack, and I did some quick arithmetic. My Letonia education knows no boundaries. 26 referees bowing out of volleyball. That drops you from 169 to 143. 24 officials bouncing out of football this year. That goes from 322 to 298. Now, if you look at the numbers, one would say, wow, man, there's a lot of officials. You should be able to be in really good shape. The problem is, not all of the 143 officials are varsity-ready volleyball officials, nor are the 298 football officials all varsity-ready football officials. So, give us some numbers in terms of how many officials are you normally using on the varsity level, John?
Well, I'll give you an example, and it's not really it's a numbers deal, but I was looking at my program this week, and I just turned it up where I can get the amount of contests I have. And starting from just yesterday, Monday, through Saturday, I have over 230 contests being played. Now, a lot of it's JV and varsity volleyball where the same two officials work it, but all of your football, and that's not really all kicked in this week other than Saturday for JVs, but they're all four-man crews, and yes, it's going to be a challenge. I can tell you already. I can see that in volleyball where I used to have a cushion of maybe 3 or 4 or 5 replacements if somebody would report off the day of a match or a game, and that luxury is gone. And I'm concerned through the start of the year if I lose any more, because I mean there's always going to be not just this virus, but we always lose some officials because of physically some physical issues, knees or legs or whatever, backs or whatever. But we do lose officials because of injury. So that's going to be a challenge. And then I look down the road, and I don't even think some of the officials are aware of it. But when we start the OSSA tournament, there's no games on 10-9 unless we got some teams that opt out of playing in a tournament and they decide to play each other that day. But that's minimal. But from 10-16, 10-23, and 10-30, we have schools that have already put games in place for them to continue their season. Well, here's the catch to that. I have a lot of officials, and I hope they all are involved with the OSSA playoffs. But if these officials are doing state playoff games, then they're leaving their crews that I have already assigned for the regular season. So there's going to be a lot of mixing and matching, and somehow we're going to do it. I'm not saying it's the end of the world, but it's going to be a challenge for the crews to be able to pick up other officials and for me to go out and try to put crews together because I have a better look at it on my program. But that's going to be another issue. So then also I wanted to bring this point up. We've had discussion with the MVAC, and I'm sure that all of the other conferences have done the same, is that, when we have any kind of inclement weather, what is going to be the holding pattern? Because you know yourself, Ron, it's the same for every sport with the half-hour wait after you hear or see lightning or hear thunder. And now with the COVID, how long you keep these kids together? Now, they can go back on the buses if they had to, but they would have to wear a mask, and how long do you keep them on the bus? So we got some issues there, and I hope that Mother Nature takes care of us every Friday night. But if there's an issue, if there's any kind of a delay with weather, we all check the local weather, Dana Bolish and all the other stations for direction how the weather's going to, how long is the lightning or the bad weather going to be in our area. But then there's the other issue is how long do we keep them on a bus? So there's probably going to be a shorter wait to cancel a game than to have kids sitting in a bus for more than half hour, 45 minutes. I don't know exactly. I'm not a doctor and I'm not an administrator, but I'm sure we've talked about it and we're aware of that. So there you go, Ron. There's some other issues there, and you're right. Every official is not a Class 1. We have a lot of Class 2. The state has given assigners the right to put Class 2s on a varsity game under emergency situations, which I believe we're in. We have a lot of Class 2 officials that are very close to being Class 1 and have been on the field a lot, so I'm confident that they would be able to handle it, although I'd sooner have all Class 1s, and that's my main goal. I've gone as far as, with this change that we've had for the first 6 weeks, moving games to weeks 1 and 2 and 3, which added more games to our area here because we're used to going non-league. And the teams that were visitors, now they're in a league process. So I had to go get crews, and I had to go through a few crews from Cleveland and down in the Steubenville area. And I was fortunate enough to have some contacts where I got enough crews for every Friday night. But coming back on a Saturday, if we have inclement weather, will be an issue. But there you go again. Now, the thing about that is it's a ripple effect. The GV games are canceled on Saturday morning, so that leaves me with a few officials there. And hopefully they're Class 1 and they're available. So you can see everybody's plate is full. I can tell you I put in a lot of 10 to 12 hours days on the computer. I'm very fortunate this week. I put a plug in. My daughter had her fourth little Bambino. We had another little baby boy down in the Columbus area, and very proud of that. And my wife went down to help out, so it's just myself and a dog here, and my dog doesn't care if I'm on the computer all day, so I'm very fortunate. So, Ron, what other kind of questions you want to bring up, my friend?
Well, John, it's real simple. You said something about the officiating in football going down from 5 to 4. Is that something that is going to be official, no pun intended, in 2020?
That would be the last resort. If it had to happen on a Friday, if I had a game where I didn't have a replacement, I couldn't get one there, it's possible that they can go to 5 to 4. But that would be just an emergency status. I don't think it. Hopefully, it won't happen. But I can see it. My biggest concern is in football this year, the average classes we have in Trumbull and Mahoning County and Columbiana. Usually, Trumbull have 6 to 8 football officials, new ones that take the class. Mahoning's always. Tony Tarantino does a great job, and Bob Cezina is up in Vadez is up there in the Trumbull. But they combined this year because the Mahoning classes were held in person. Where the state has suggested that if he couldn't find a big enough venue to have the classes, you can do it online. But I think we have 5 or 6 that took the class. That's between 2 counties, which is a concern because I'm used to getting probably 15 to 20 a year, and the turnover ratio is about 50%. So that's going to be an issue for next year. And volleyball didn't have any classes this year, which I need the most. So you can see there's probably some more, not only this year, but down the road. And with the aging officials, the numbers going up throughout the state. It's just not our area here in Northeast Ohio. It's the whole state. But the average age keeps going up for the age of an official that's on the field in that. But thankfully, all of the associations and all the officials in our area, they stay up on the books, and a lot of questions and answers online, and we have great interpreters, and they do go out and try to recruit new officials, and it's just that some of the officials that we do get, they relocate and like everywhere else, but you got to go with what you have. But I can say overall, we are very fortunate to have the associations in our area that promote high school sports. And as you know, and I'll be the first one to say, I've pat every one of them on the back with everything going on in this in Ohio with the virus and everything, and all the mandates. And there's a lot of things going on that were not answered. Now the governor came out and said about the testing. There was something out 3 or 4 or 5 weeks ago that the officials were going to have to be tested every 2 weeks, but nobody knew how that was going to be, who was going to pay for that. And now they backed off and said that each official is responsible for themselves. And there are a lot of schools that will probably, which happened already in volleyball, they would give them a temperature check when they walk in to the site, which I expect probably maybe most of them will do, the schools. But I know that the officials take care of themselves too. A lot of them have been tested, and most of them work in their regular full-time jobs. That there's procedures done too to keep them, make sure that they're healthy and that. So that's my spiel. I mean, I could talk a lot more, but I can tell you that the only thing that really keeps me going is just the professionalism that everybody I'm around. I would like to say that Mr. Yoakley there at YSN, I've had a conversation with him, and he's really full of energy. And I tell you, here's a gentleman here that told me he did some research in a couple other states that have pay-per-view and that stuff, and he's trying to do it to promote all of our student athletes, which he'll have interviews with the players, and he'll have there was another question asked if the band will be showed at halftime, and that was confirmed that the band will be online if you get this YSN product. But I think it touches every part of student athletes. I mean, the volleyball games YSN is covering, and I think it's just wonderful that with not only the situation we're in now, but a lot of people that maybe have health issues or anything that or don't want to try to take a chance to go to the game, if they even had the opportunity, they can watch it on their streamline with YSN. So if you want to call it a plug, go ahead, but I have nothing involved in it, and I'm a commissioner, and I'm glad that our league, it was a very positive vote to have YSN come in this year, and I'm very excited to see how everything flies here in the football and volleyball season. Okay, Big Ron.
All right, John, a couple more things before we let you go. Number one, it seems to me with the shortage of officials in both football and volleyball, one would think if you moved some of these games, football, I'll use football as an example, move some of the games, take a large chunk of games from Friday, move them from Thursday and Saturday, and have some games Thursday, Friday, and Saturday where you may have a few crews double up and have two games during the course of a week instead of one game. Would that alleviate some of the pressures that you guys have with a shortage of football officials? In the same way with volleyball, have games more spread out during the course of the week. Would that help in any way, shape, or form with the shortage, John?
Well, I want to talk in volleyball. I want to talk volleyball first. They do play every day of the week, and now the state came out probably within the last 7 to 10 days and mandated that there will be no try matches. Which Ronnie, that's what you have 3 teams come in and they play each other, varsity, and usually another gym you have there. The JVs would play each other. Everybody would get 2 matches in, but now because of the spacing and everything else, they come in and said no more tries. You're going to do duels. So that spaced it out where now a lot of schools are looking for just that JV varsity only for volleyball. Now, there's actually some gyms, junior high gyms for volleyball, that there will be no fans permitted because they just don't have any room for fans. And some of the gyms only can hold up maybe 50 people with the mandates they have out for the virus. And they're moving it where maybe they'll have a game at 5 o'clock for 7th grade, and they'll have a 10, 15, 20-minute. It's really not a big deal because the team's got to warm up anyway, but then the 8th grade game would be, let's say, at 5 o'clock, and the 8th grade game would be at 6:15, and they would empty the gym and put people back in, just try to get more people involved. And then we have probably, and it's probably going to, the trend is moving this way, is that a lot of the junior high volleyball has been moved into the varsity gym to accommodate more people, and I probably have 6, 8, 10 teams out of all the ones that I assign have made that change. They're trying to work with their schedule where they can get the junior high into their high school gyms. And the same with football. We're okay, Ron, when you talk about Thursdays and Saturdays and that stuff. We're okay. It's just that every as far as the officials, I have everything covered. But the biggest thing is the mandate on the seating is only, if it's 400, that's 400. I don't care what you do. I mean, like I can tell you, Cressy's been working very hard. They have a new beautiful turf put in this year, and Paul Cusick is very involved with. He's the head coach and athletic director, and he's very involved with the coaching association and everything, and with these rules committees. He's involved, but he brought it back where if you have a stadium with a track around it, and if you can, there's room between the inside of the track and the sideline, you can have people bring a chair with them and sit. That would add more seating capacity. Sebring is a very small, it's a smaller stadium, and they're going to be putting people in the one end zone where there's some space there that you can bring a lawn chair and sit. And everybody, Brian Clark and the new administrators are doing what they can, but there's only so much you can do. When you're talking 10% of your or 15% of the total that you can capacity or X amount, and we've had every one of the athletic directors in the MVAC have gone out and actually went through the whole stadium, figuring out spaces, how many tickets can they really, how many people can they really get into the stadiums. They've done this manually, so it's not something. It's just you sit down and you just wing at it. Everything has been done professionally, and they're trying to do what they can to get people in and still be within the guidelines, like passes and everything like that. If you're not an administrator or a school administrator that's working that night or viewing the game, I mean, there's just so many things have changed. I even have observers that go to football games and observe the crews. And I'm down to where I might have a few, and I'll try to pick sites where they can hold more people than others. But we'll do the best we can with that, too. So there's a lot behind the scenes that the average spectator or fan don't quite understand how much work there is involved in this to pull it off. And I think everybody in our area in the state will be glad after week one's over. That way you'll be able to more or less sit back and see what you have to adjust. And before I get off, I did want to say that I'm going to be online tomorrow night with the OSSA. They have a new position coming up. It's not a big-time position, but it's called an inspector, and they're coming up with some guidelines from the state. This is actually funded by the state through Governor DeWine, but he wants inspectors to go out at different game sites on a Friday night and to make sure or to help. It's not like a watchdog, like but you're going out and you're checking off things they've done or they didn't do, if there's any. And I haven't seen the checklist. I'll have it tomorrow night, hopefully. But they've asked if I would go out, and of course, I'll do what I can. But it's just another position they're going to have where they're going to go out and just make sure that all the schools are doing the things that were mandated by the state to do to have a outdoor event for the OSSA with the football. So that's something else that maybe I'll get back to you and I'll let you know how that goes. But it's everything they do is a positive to try to keep. Hey, the biggest thing is to start something, but to finish it's the hardest thing to do. And I think everybody got their fingers crossed with this virus and that. I do know that in the Cleveland area they lost 3 or 4 games this upcoming weekend because there was one kid player that tested positive. Oh God, I can't think of the name, but they had to cancel the game. The team can't practice till Friday. So hopefully these things won't happen in our area. But as you know, this virus doesn't take any prisoners. So.
Hey, John, one more
upstairs is with us.
One more thing before we let you go, and we're speaking with the Mahoning Valley Athletic Commissioner, John Mang. John, the visiting football team, are there guarantees that they are going to have, the players are going to have X amount of tickets for them, for parents, loved ones, et cetera? Because it seems to me, I was doing some math, Crestview holds 3,000, so that's 450 people that they can put in. If you're going 4 tickets per player, 4 tickets per cheerleader, 4 tickets per band member, you're pretty much eating up the 450 tickets without even including the visiting team. And it got me to wonder, does the visiting team have any tickets whatsoever going into this game? Is that the case, John, or are the visiting team not going to have any fan base?
Well, I can tell you this, that like I said earlier when I first got on your program, the two athletic directors involved in that contest that particular night will get together. And yes, like you said, family members and loved ones, that is our number one priority. I would be safe to say that from attending all the meetings as commissioner and listening to all these hardworking athletic directors I have, that there will be two per for each football player. And and there's some other situations up where if you're from a family that has mom and dad separated, they have another spouse or whatever. They're trying to everything that we're trying to do is accommodate the players, but there'll be X amount of tickets that will be allocated for the visitors, and I would hope and think, and I haven't seen it on paper yet, but the visitors coming the parents of the football players will be they'll be there. There'll be a ticket for them. I can almost say that 100%. I don't. I'm trying to think of any other. I know that they'll be taken care of. I know that graciously, the state mandated. Where I think, what is it, Ronnie? I think you can dress 60 or 65 players traveling this year. You can't bring any more than that. They don't, or whatever. And I know Springfield has in that vicinity this year. They had a good turnout for football. It probably didn't have nothing to do with their state run last year, but those things always help when getting kids out. That's just a good shot for our coach over there at Springfield. But the big thing is we're trying to cut down the amount of players that travel if they're not going to play. When I say that, the ones that have bigger rosters, it doesn't affect our conference, Mahoning Valley Athletic Conference. It may affect the bigger ones, the Fitches and the Boardmans and the Howlands and the Canfields and that. I don't know exactly what their numbers are, but they're only going to have X amount traveling, so that'd be less tickets for them to have too. So they're trying to help out in that way.
John, always a pleasure, sir. I know that this year, had we not had COVID, we'd be having a two-tier MVAC, the Scarlet tier, the Gray tier, and hopefully in 2021 we'll have some fun with a two-tier. But for right now, all I can say is let's get through week one and hope and pray to God that things get better.
Take a day at a time, Big Ron.
Amen to that, brother. Amen. Inspector Mang, I love the. I'm going to start calling you Inspector Gadget.
Yeah, that's about what I am. Thanks, Ron.
John, always a pleasure, sir. You're always welcome at the table here.
And I really appreciate all of your professional help too. You've been a very big positive in the Mahoning Valley and the area for a long time, and just keep up the good work, buddy.
Thank you very much, sir. John Mang, he is the president of the Mahoning Valley Athletic Conference, and he is the assigner for the Mahoning Valley officials. And again, the officials, it's not code red, but the officiating for football, it will be code red come playoff time. John brings up an interesting point. They don't take entire crews in the playoffs, which I think is completely asinine. The OHSAA drops the ball on this every single year, and it's something that has been a pet peeve of mine for a long time. You're taking certain people off of a crew instead of rewarding the entire crew. And by doing that, now you have a mix and match crew that has never worked together, and there's no cohesiveness between that crew, where you just as soon just send the entire crew, reward the entire crew, and you have more cohesiveness and a better called game officiating-wise. Be that as it may. When the playoffs start, there will be a number of officials from the Mahoning Valley that are going to be going on to the state playoffs. What does that mean? Well, it means that some officials are going to be taken away, and, we're going to have to get some help in order for the rest of the officials to have their crews all set up. Now, this is important because in week 7, assuming everyone goes to the playoffs and there's nobody that bows out of the playoffs and says, we don't want to do it this year, week 7, you're not going to have a problem. But in week number 8, when there are some teams that have been bounced out after their one playoff game and they want to finish out the season, you may not have enough officials to go around. Now, the news could be helpful because from what I'm hearing, there are a number of teams that are probably not going to be playing after their trip in the playoffs. There are some teams that, and we haven't heard names, but there are some teams that are essentially going to say, once we're eliminated from the playoffs, we're not even going to play 10 games. Once we're eliminated from the playoffs, our season is over. We'll pack our stuff up, and that'll be the end of that. I'll be real curious to see how many of those teams are going to do just that once they're eliminated from the postseason. But fingers crossed, and I'll echo what John said. Let's just get through week one, and let's evaluate and see what's going on. Hopefully, this is going to go a lot smoother than the potential. There's a lot of potential for some pretty interesting stuff this week in high school football. And again, hopefully, fingers crossed, everything goes pretty much without a hitch, and everyone will reassess, and hopefully things are in really good shape. We can tell you right now there's going to be about a quintet of games that are going to be on ysnlive.com. Canfield is going to be playing Howland, Ursuline's playing Cheney, Niles and Jefferson, Sebring and McDonald, and Dover will play Louisville. And our folks in Louisville are new to the YSN family, and good to see a team in Stark County getting involved in the YSN empire. So those are the 5 games that we're going to be covering. So we'll get involved into the pay-per-view portion of our football season, and we'll start talking a little bit about that in the 1 o'clock hour. However, coming up next, we have 21 Sports Director Dana Balish. He is coming up after this timeout. It is a Tuesday edition of Running Point. Ron Potesta with you. MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning hotline will be open in about 15, 20 minutes, give or take a few minutes. Actually, it's going to be a little bit longer because Dan Yeagley will be coming on at about 1:20. So about a half hour, 40 minutes after the hour, we'll probably open up the phone lines. All right, we're back in a bit. Stick around. More to come.
The details. Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods is one fine ride. Perfect cornering, superb handling, sporty and stylish, power to spare, plus awesome mileage. Yeah, jaw-droppingly beautiful lines and well-appointed with luxurious trim. Put more oomph in your life and start beholding the molding. Find your home's fine hardwood at BairdBrothers.com. Storm season,
I think we're under the gun for some heavy storms over the next couple of hours.
and Storm Tracker 21 is ready
This is probably the one we're keeping a closer eye on.
air,
And locally, we're going to have a lot of eyes on our area.
online,
All right, let's talk high-risk futurecast and the timing of this weather.
on social media, and on our app.
Stay in the showers. I'm keeping my eye on in parts of Columbiana County.
Stay ready with Storm Tracker 21.
The severe weather threat now through around sunset this evening.
Hi everyone, this is DJ Yoakley with Your Sports Network. We appreciate your support of YSN and welcome you to the YSN family. Our broadcast streams are brought to you live at no cost to you by sponsors that are local to this community. Without the vision and generosity of our sponsors and partners, we would not be able to bring this game to you today. So please support the great businesses and leaders that are making this game possible. And if you're a business in need of great advertising and sponsorship opportunities, feel free to head over to our site for more information on the right fit for you. We are local, we are loyal, and we are live. We are YSN.
It is a Tuesday edition of Running Point on ysnlive.com. And joining me on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline, 21 Sports Director Dana Balish. Dana, how are you today, sir?
Doing well, Ron. Yourself?
I'm doing wonderful. Okay, it's Hell Week, week one of the high school football season. Lots of games spread out this week. We've got a quartet of games on Thursday, a large number of games on Friday, and a couple of games on Saturday as well. I know from a TV standpoint, you guys have been doing this for a long, long time, but kind of peel back the curtain and give everyone an opportunity to have a typical football weekend, a high school football weekend in the Mahoning Valley, and the work that you guys do behind the scenes.
Well, I mean, to be honest with you, Ron, in March, back in March before this all started, sometime in February, I had all the 2020 schedules. I mean, there were a couple of holes, and basically had the season done as far as, which crews were going to go to which games and that sort of thing. And then when this all happened, kind of had to revamp it. But the 6 weeks are done, and we're ready to go. I mean, really, it all starts Thursday for us. I mean, we have about 16 people working on a typical Friday night, going out to get, the games, and we'll cover, I think, 18 games or 17 games. There's only 19 being played on Friday. As you mentioned, there's 4 on Thursday and then 3 on Saturday. And, so we'll probably have, out of the total of, we probably won't get to 2 games just because they're out of town and they're playing teams from out of the area. But, it's really, after doing this for so long, it doesn't change. I mean, some of the faces change, and some of the, obviously the players change, but, many of the coaches are there. They know what to expect, and, it's kind of that. Now, we did do our previews. We covered every team in the viewing area, all 55 teams in the viewing area, including Western Pennsylvania, and that started late July, and it just concluded on Friday of this past week. And, we go to every camp, talk to every coach, and put something together. We put it online. We make it available on our website and mobile app, and also, we air it. So we cover every school. We treat the smallest school as if it's the biggest school, and the biggest school if it's the smallest school. Everyone's on a level playing field.
Dana, obviously, we're going to have changes, and that's part of living in the COVID world when dealing with high school sports. And here's a great example. Warren Harding was supposed to open up with Cleveland Heights, and actually, if you really want to be technical, they were supposed to open up with Canton McKinley. Then we had the COVID, knocking the season down from 10 games to 6 games. Warren Harding was supposed to be taking on Cleveland Heights. Cleveland Heights bails, and now Warren Harding is going to be playing Cleveland Benedictine. Now, that's a big step up because Benedictine is historically a much better program than Cleveland Heights, and Harding is going to have to prepare for a completely different team, and they have an extra day because that game will be on Saturday night. But you get the feeling that this isn't going to be the only time that you're going to be seeing a switch of opponents between now and the end of the 6-week season, assuming we get to that point.
Well, no, and I think, Ron, in all fairness to Cleveland Heights, they're the ones who, I'm not going to say pulled the plug. They asked for the game to be canceled for reasons that I'm not sure of. When Warren Harding was able to find a game, usually, in past practices, when it comes between administrators, if you want to get out of a contract, part of that agreement is, okay, you got to find us a game that we agree to. And in this world, you just don't know what happened. But that game was canceled, and it wasn't Warren Harding who pulled the plug. It was Cleveland Heights for whatever reason. And they still have 5 games scheduled. I mean, they were going to play the teams up in the Cleveland area. I mean, for Warren Harding, they're go from playing a Division II program now to playing a Division II program as well in Benedictine. But I don't think that change would have been made if every team didn't get into the postseason or had the opportunity to go to the postseason. So it's a Saturday night game, and the reason they're playing it Saturday night is because Warren JFK already had a game scheduled for Mollenkopf on Friday. So Harding will play on Saturday against a pretty good Benedictine team that went to the postseason last year.
Dana Bolish, our guest, he is the guru of TV sports, and he's also the Dean of Valley Sports now. You know you're getting up in age when you're now considered to be the dean of Valley Sports, the guy that's been there the longest. And we're the same age, so it's not a shot at you, Danny, because we're the same age. I'm just saying, you're the dean now.
Well, when you've been doing something wrong for a long time and you get the cooperation from a lot of people, both in and out of the station, I mean that's what makes it worthwhile.
No question about that. Last week you and me and DJ and Gary Houston had a little roundabout on the WFMJ Facebook site, and we all kind of agreed that, okay, this is going to be a very bizarre start, and I'll be curious after week one what kind of adjustments are we going to have to make, and the biggest of which is ticket adjustments. Obviously 15% of capacity. If you're a small school and you only have a 2,000-seat stadium, you're looking at 350 seats, or I'm sorry, 300 seats that are going to be available. That's not a whole lot of tickets available when you promise a certain amount of tickets for each football player, both home and visitor. There's going to be an awful lot of clamoring for tickets around the Mahoning Valley.
Well, and again, this is uncharted territory, Ron. I mean, when teams play on the road, there's never an issue with tickets. I've never heard of issues with tickets, and so on and so forth. I mean, this is all new to everybody. Certainly, you talk about adjustments, and I think the biggest adjustments will be from administrators of how can we do things better between week 1 and 2. Now, administrators who have a home game this week will probably be on the road next week and have some time to adjust by it. But it's going to be different for everybody. I mean, Ron, masks have to be worn by everybody except the 22 players on the field. Now, the officials are exempt from that. If they want to wear them, they can. The sideline is really going to be different. The sideline is going to extend from the 10 to the 10 for social distancing. Timeouts are going to be longer, from 1 minute to 2 minutes. Halftime is being recommended to be cut down to 10 minutes plus a 3-minute warm-up period, so you're talking 13 minutes there. So, all the intention, and it's the simplest things, Ron. Let's say there's a long pass that goes out of bounds, and, usually the ball boy just hands the official another ball. Well, I don't know if that can be done. I think you got to go retrieve that ball, bring that ball back into play. So I think, in some cases the game's going to speed up. In other cases, I think the game's going to be brought to a halt. And the biggest thing is injuries. I mean, I've talked to some coaches who did not scrimmage, so they're going to be going into game 1 without their players being hit. So, and Mark Porter pointed this out last night, injuries, I think, are going to play or something to be concerned about, because I just don't know if these players are in football physical condition yet.
Dana, you brought something up on your Twitter account that happened last week, and we talked about this, Anthony and myself. American Fork High School in Utah, the athletic director stopping play in the middle of their football game because the fans were not following the mask and social distance guidelines. It seemed like the fan base were all starting to bunch closer and closer together. Student section was bunching closer together, and very few of the people had their masks up. And the athletic director said, whoa. We're stopping this game right now until y'all get back to your assigned seats and you put your mask up. Otherwise, we're not going to play this game.
Well, and again, I think what people have to remember, Ron, is this going to be perfect? No. There's going to be, things that didn't go right. There's going to be things that did go right. And that's why I think patience is the virtue. Look, if you go to the game, you got to wear a mask. If you're not going to wear it, then just don't go to the game. I mean, it's as simple as that. I mean, it's common sense stuff for not only the fans, but for media members as well, and everybody else, medical personnel. You know the rules going into this. It's not like you're going to the stadium, they're going to hand you a sheet and say, this is what you have to do. We've known this for we've known this, for at least 2 weeks, that, this was a possibility of playing and mask would be mandated. So it's very simple. Follow the rules, have some common sense, be courteous, because it's going to be different for everybody. Look, if you go to a stadium and you can't sit in your normal seat where you've sat for the last 20 years, it's not because they don't want you to sit there. It's because they're trying to get as many people into the facility as possible. So again, it's the common sense factor. And I think that if people use common sense, if people, they know what they're going into, and that's what I mean by common sense, then hopefully there will be no problems, there will be no issues, and kids could go, parents can go and watch their kids play and perform.
TV 21 Sports Director Dana Ballas joining me on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning hotline. Dana, you brought something interesting to the table on your Twitter account, and it's a mind-blowing statistic. Steubenville is going to open up the 2020 season in Youngstown Friday night when they take on Cardinal Mooney. This is going to be the first time in 40 years. You're going to go back all the way back to 1980 when you and I were juniors in high school. You're going to go back to 1980, the last time the Big Red started the season on the road. In 2020 just can't get any weirder.
Well, and again, they're used to having eight home games a year, and they have 3 on the road and 3 at home, and it's just the way the schedule fell. I mean, they're coming up to Stambaugh Stadium. I saw that this morning and did some research on it, and certainly that is the case. So, for the first time in 40 years, Steubenville will not be opening the regular season at home.
I get the sense that, with the fact that we really didn't get a full contact type of training camp, I get the feeling that there's going to be a number of upsets this week in week number 1. It's not only is it going to be a bizarre week number 1 for a lot of reasons with a lack of fans and some other things in this COVID world. I get the feeling we're going to see a lot of major upsets in week 1 as well.
Well, I made my preseason predictions based on the schedules that we got, Ron, and the majority of teams, obviously, there's 6 games, and I've received some, interesting text and interesting calls from coaches and athletic directors saying, okay, you predicted us to go X and X, who are we going to lose to? And I think you're right. I think week 1 could be one of those weeks where some teams, could hit a bump, and then you regroup and you go the rest of the way, depending on how long that is. But I think you're right. I think if there's because you just don't know what to expect. I mean, I know it's an old cliche. You got to expect the unexpected, and I think this is shaping up to be one of those weeks where anything is possible, and because you just don't know. I don't think there's any coach out there, if they're being honest with themselves, who has a real good feel of where their team is. In normal years, you've had 2 scrimmages, you've had all these practices, you kind of know where your team is. But I don't think there's a coach out there who knows exactly where his team is on the radar. And it's going to be a surprise for them. I think the coaches have to prepare for the unexpected because, again, in what we're doing this year, nobody knows.
You had Leetonia 2-4. You didn't get a call from Coach Julia by chance, did you?
I got several calls, and I'm not saying which coaches or administrators or assistant coaches or fans called me, but I did get some texts and interesting calls, and haven't responded to them because I'm not going to tell who I think they're going to lose to because, look, I say this to coaches all the time. If you don't agree, then use it for momentum. Use it, hey, it's us against the world. No one's given us a chance. Use it to your advantage. I've had coaches in the past who say, pick us to go 0-10. Okay?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you put it up on the bulletin board and say, look at this. You're getting no respect from the Youngstown media. This guy's telling you you're going to go winless. Absolutely. That's bulletin board material. And for the record, I think Leetonia wins at least 4 games this year. But, and that might be the fan inside of me and not the person that's trying to think with their head instead of their heart. I'm just throwing that out there. Hey, before we let you go, the Indians lose last night, and it just looked awful. Situational hitting, 14th time this year that they have scored 2 runs or less. They're 4-10 in those 14 games. Obviously, Wednesday is now a huge game because you got to win 2 out of 3 against Minnesota to gain a game. If you don't take 2 out of 3, then you're losing ground on the Twins. So Wednesday, Do you go back to Clevenger? You bring him up? Do you stay with Plutko? Do you go somewhere else? What do you think the Indians are going to do? And does, on August 31st at the trade deadline, do you think the Indians make a deal and get a bat or two?
Well, everyone wants starting pitching, and the Indians have have starting pitching, and that if they wanted to, they could trade away. I mean, I think the Indians will be involved in some talks, but I think, Ron, and you've been involved in baseball, you got to make a trade where it's beneficial for both teams, where it's going to help both teams. And if a team comes saying, "Hey, we need pitching, and we're going to give you something the Indians already have," no trade will be done. I think Clevenger, I think his name's being brought up in trade talks. I would be surprised if it's not. I mean, the Indians hit the midway point of their season tonight, I believe. It's game number 30. So you have 30 more. Is it a panic mode? No, because more teams are going into the playoffs. But I can see, I would think the Indians would make some sort of deal because they have the pitching. But again, do you look at this as one of those years where you're going to get better and you can make a run and win a world championship? And would it be a true world championship? And and I know that's not part of the equation. You want to get your club better, but I think the Indians will make a deal. I think, and would I start Clevenger? No, not tomorrow. This is a huge series, with Minnesota. You lost the opener last night. You don't want Clevenger coming up and just any distractions or anything like this. So I think you sit him again. You get through Minnesota, then you see where you are.
Dan, always a pleasure. Look forward to catching up with you next Monday.
Front.
You got it. 21 Sports Director Dana Balish joining me on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline. We're going to take a timeout. On the other side, we will catch up with the head football coach of the South Range Raiders. Yeah, they may have a pretty big game out of the chute in week number 1, taking on Poland in the Northeast Ohio, in the NE8 division. South Range and Poland. Poland is supposed to be the team to beat, according to the experts, and I'm one of those experts. I'm not saying Poland wins this division, by the way. I'm not saying anybody wins this division. I think Poland is one of the better teams, and you might as well go up against the best in week number 1, and that's exactly what South Range is going to do. We'll catch up with Dan Yeagley coming up in a bit. It is a Tuesday edition of Running Points on ysnlive.com.
Baird Brothers remains your source for fine hardwood products. For the time being, we're open for customer pickup only on weekdays, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m., and Saturday from 9 a.m. till noon. Place your order online at BairdBrothers.com. Baird Brothers, for the place you love.
Quality, customer service, and integrity. Those are the 4 words that have driven our success since 1957 at Joe Dickey Electric.
Joe Dickey Electric is one Mahoning Valley landmark business that stays current with the requirements of our customers. Family owned and managed, we are an electrical contractor and energy solutions provider. Every member of our team adds to his or her skill set through ongoing training. Residential, commercial, industrial, automotive, and more. We keep ahead of the needs of our customers with a fleet of more than 50 vehicles and 24/7 emergency service, so you're never left in the dark.
The 4M Company, being an architect and construction manager for over 40 years, has had the opportunity to use many different electrical businesses for our projects. The depth, quality, and knowledge and attention to detail displayed by Dickey Electric makes them stand out above all the rest.
For state-of-the-art expertise and a timeless commitment to our customers, contact Joe Dickey Electric. We are everything electrical.
To help you with your Medicare needs.
Myers Family Insurance looks forward to helping you now for years to come, so call our family today and remind them how cute we are.
Myers Family Insurance continues to be the area's resource for all your Medicare and retirement needs. Call today, 330-286-3044.
It's a Tuesday edition of Running Point on ysnlive.com, the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning hotline. It's not open right now because on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning hotline, we say hello to our old friend in his 25th year as the head football coach of the South Range Raiders, Dan Yeagley. Yegs, how are you today, sir?
I'm doing great, except for you're saying old friend. I don't know. I'm worried about that.
Well, I mean, we've known each other for pretty much the better part of 40-some-odd years.
That's right.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
we'll go old friends. That's good.
Yeah, there you go. Hey, you guys, nothing like opening up the season against what is supposed to be, according to the, and I'm using air quotes here, experts, the creme de la creme of the Northeast 8. You guys are going to open up the season against Poland. Nothing but league games for you guys in a abbreviated 6-game season. And you get no breaks whatsoever. And well, I mean, that's the Northeast 8. You don't get any breaks per se, but nothing like starting off the season with the perceived best team in the league.
Well, you know what? It was going to happen. I mean, when you're in a league, you're going to play that league, and it just so happens Poland is one of the best teams, and we have to open up with them, which is never an easy feat. I mean, playing them, period. But let's find out where our kids are at. Let's find out how the summer went. Let's find out how things are going, and we're going to line up and we're going to play, and we're going to give it our very best. And we have some things going on. Our kids came back fantastic from our COVID break and worked their butts off, and so I think we're going to be ready, and we're going to give it our best shot. And like I said, we're going to fight to the whistle blows.
7-3 record in the regular season last year, and again, the fact that South Range is the smallest team in enrollment-wise in the Northeast 8, it certainly prepared you for the postseason. Now, postseason lasted 2 weeks. You knocked off Bel Air in week number 1, 30-7, and then you ultimately lost to the defending state champs. They wound up winning the state championship, Kirtland, which, man, that team's just an absolute beast year in and year out. But you guys, again, your schedule, you open up with Poland on Friday. You'll go to Girard. Niles comes into the new facility, at Jefferson, Struthers at home, and then at Hubbard. Again, it prepares South Range for a possible run, a deep run, into the D5 playoffs.
And that's exactly right. I mean, we are the small school, but that doesn't matter. Both teams only play 11, so they're going to play 11. We're going to play 11, and we're going to get after it. But it does prepare you for the playoffs. I mean, you get into the playoffs, and there's those good teams. There's that Kirtland sitting there in our division. We all know who they are, and obviously they're very, very good. And and even in our region, you got Sandy Valley down there. That has a lot of kids coming back who played Kirtland pretty good the week before us. We got there's some great teams. Bel Air again coming back, and you got to play your very best football year round, and that's why our schedule does prepare us for the playoffs. We're excited about our schedule, excited about the NE8, and we're gonna keep on going, and hopefully in the playoffs we make a good run and get a couple good draws or seeds or however they decide to put us, and things happen, and we get to keep on playing.
Selfishly, because now I have family in Crestview, that's a rivalry that's been going on for, I want to say, the better part of 15 years, and it's been an awful lot of fun watching South Range and Crestview play any sport, but especially on the football field. Kind of disappointing that you guys aren't playing Crestview, and understandably, because both teams are concentrating on their league, but the encouraging thing is both teams are Division 5. You're probably going to wind up seeing them at some point in the postseason, Coach.
Oh, I know, and I am disappointed that we're not playing them. I mean, our non-league is we schedule a great non-league, and the reason why is it prepares for the league. So we have to schedule up in our non-league. We had Springfield week 1, which we weren't allowed to play now, or couldn't play because we're all in their league and they're in their league, and Crestview week 2 and Kansas Central week 3. Those three teams prepare us for league play, and we know that, and that's why we scheduled those teams. And I do want to play Crestview again. I mean, that's a great rivalry game. We had our run of 8 or 9 games. They've had their run for 8 or so games, and now we're back into, now we have to meet each other in the playoffs this year because of the pandemic. But I'm looking forward to playing them again. I hope that things work out and we do get a draw, and maybe it's near the finals, and we both make a great run into the playoffs because they got everybody back. That's a great team, and they should be exciting to watch this year too.
Last season, Isaac Allegretto was your starting quarterback, and he's now since graduated. He got hurt in the season finale, the victory against Hubbard. On came Michael Petrone, who's now a senior, and the 6'2" senior came on last year as a junior, won the game, did a real nice job against Bel Air in the opening round of the playoffs, threw for about 2 1/4 against them. So it's not like you have a completely inexperienced quarterback. Petrone was thrown in the fire, and by all accounts, Skip, he did really, really well.
Oh, he did fantastic. I mean, that's, hats off to my assistant coaches. I mean, they prepare kids. They don't just work with starters. They prepare all the kids because you never know who's going to have to step in and play and under what situation. And Michael's been a starter for us. He's been an outside linebacker for us for years, and so him stepping into a varsity game wasn't a shock to him. But again, playing as a quarterback was a little bit different. But he did a great job there, and we had a lot of kids like that. They weren't really starters, but played a lot throughout the season just because of the schedule. And on paper it doesn't look like we have a whole lot of returning starters, but we have a lot of returning players, which we're excited about and looking forward to making an impact on this season.
Well, you have a couple of good running backs as well. The return of Dylan Dominguez, who had over 1,000 yards last year. Luke Blasco is a really nice running back as well. It seems that your skill position is there, but the offensive line, Coach, you got a lot of work to do as far as returning or getting some kids up to speed. You lost an awful lot of offensive linemen to graduation last year.
Oh, we sure did, and we have to rebuild there. I mean, our young kids, we did play some kids there, but we're looking to fill some spots, and that's going to be the big question mark, especially against Poland, because they have 3 big returning letterman starters back that are all bigger than any kids we have on our team. But they've worked hard, and we're going to try to get bodies on bodies and let our skill kids make plays. And we got some kids that are stepping up and playing well. Had a good scrimmage against Mogador last Friday night, and that helped us prepare a little bit for the season and for Poland. So, and our offensive line did well against their good, experienced offensive line. So we'll defensive line. So we'll see, and it's still going to be the question mark, but it's trial by fire now because we got Poland this Friday.
Dan, I'm a real firm believer in the fact that during this virus, the more consistent programs, the programs that have had head coaches for a long period of time, that have run things a certain way for a long period of time, those are the teams that are going to come out of this with a little bit of an advantage. Is that something that you subscribe to, or do you think it's opposite?
No, I think so. I just think that, consistency is very important. I've been around for a long time. My staff's been around me for a long time. The kids know what's expected of them. There's no questions. There's no mystery about what we're doing or what's going to happen. And I think that is an advantage. You got a new coach coming in, and he's going to have probably a little bit more fire and enthusiasm and everything else. But there's still a lot of unknowns because they haven't proved themselves yet, and we have, and so we'll see. I mean, it's going to be an interesting time here these next couple of weeks just to see how programs adapt and change and change to this new type of format and shortened schedule.
The offseason obviously was an offseason filled with start and go. How did your kids react to this very bizarre offseason? Have they not missed a beat when you have them back on the field, Coach?
They were behind. I mean, you can say what you did. You can say, oh, we did some online stuff and this and that. Some kids didn't have access to equipment and everything else. So we just, we let it run how it ran. And, we did do some push-ups and sit-ups and ran a little bit and set them some workouts. But, when June 1st came around and we were allowed to have contact with them, first of all, they all got together and it was just like a family reunion. They were all excited just to see each other again. And, we spent some time just a little bit of team building and got into our pods and started working them out, and they responded well. They knew what they had to do to be prepared for the season. And, June and July was an awesome 2 months, and we got a lot done. And now, like I said, and August was a good month too, and hopefully, like I said, we can put it together on Friday night.
Now, I know that South Range, the fans, they back South Range like nobody's business. And, unfortunately, in this COVID world, only 15% of the stadium is going to be filled. And when you consider the fact that the opposing team is going to have a certain allotment for tickets for their parents, that doesn't leave a whole lot of tickets left for Raider Nation. Let's talk a little bit about that. And we're here at YSN. We're hoping that everyone jumps on the South Range $9.99 pay-per-view, and they're able to watch the game for $9.99. But hopefully, Raider Nation, whatever fans come out, are going to be coming out loud and proud, and I'm sure they will. But what has the feeling been like in terms of that subject of trying to get tickets for the very rabid South Range community?
Well, we have a plan in place, and unfortunately, some people are going to get left out. Some of the diehards that have been there forever and ever. It's tough. I talked to Wilbur Kurtz, who's been coming to games for years and years and years, and he doesn't have anybody playing now, and he's 90 whatever years old, and he wants to be able to come watch, and we're going to try and see if we can get him a couple tickets, but I don't know. It's just going to be tough. I mean, because you are limited. They limited it to how many people we can have. It was tough in our scrimmage because we didn't allow any fans at our scrimmage, not even parents, and that was tough too. And it's a sign of the times, unfortunately, and we just have to adapt. Our administration's done a great job coming up with a plan of selling tickets, all pre-sale, obviously none at the gate, and taking care of Poland also. And but you got to take care of your own. You got to take care of your home team and your own team. And then, like I said, and thanks to you guys, YSN and DJ and the crew, all you guys being able to do a pay-per-view, and $9.99 is not $10 is nothing, because if you go two people, I mean that's $12 at the gate, and so that's a little bit of a savings on some families. But just to be able to get some of those people, and I know some people out of town that are looking forward to watching some games that haven't been able to. They've been listening to you guys forever, and with your great program that you guys have, and just being able to now get in and actually watch some games also. They're looking forward to it. So thank you guys for all you've done, and thank you guys for setting this up and making it possible.
Hey, Dan, before we let you go, you guys did scrimmage over the weekend. What did you take out of that scrimmage? And moving forward, obviously without using coaches speak, and I know you're a straight shooter, your thoughts on the upcoming season, how optimistic are you with this very talented group of guys coming back this year?
I'm pretty optimistic. I mean, we have, starting off with Poland's not the what you really want to do, but I mean that's how it fell, and that's what we're going to do. We scrimmaged Mogador, and Mogador is a great program. My goodness, and the traditions they have. I was on the sidelines and watched them lose to Springfield in the regional finals here at our place. And, it's a great program, and we hung with them. Do touchdown-wise, 21-14, we beat them. But, I mean, that's just a scrimmage, so you can't really go by that. But our kids performed. They got after it and, played against a great program and a great team and made things happen. And I just hope we can do the same throughout the league. And the main thing is we just have to stay healthy. And like you said, on the offensive line especially, because, we're thin there and inexperienced to boot. And so we're going to have to make some things happen. But, we're going to grind it out. We're going to find out what our kids are made of Friday night, and then bounce back and or keep on rolling on the next Friday night and get after it as we move on with our season.
Well, one good thing, everyone goes into the playoffs, and they're going to need stadiums. And this just in, your stadium might be the best small school stadium in the state of Ohio. And I am so glad you guys were able to get a postseason game. And hopefully you guys are going to get more postseason games, assuming we can play an entire season this year.
Oh, I agree 100%. It is a great place, and I got goosebumps right now because there's no better place than home. And South Range is a special place with special people and a special community. And looking forward to some great football games here this season, and even hosting some playoff games. So we're looking forward to it, Ron.
Hey, it doesn't get much better than week number 1. You guys open up against the supposed favorite, and we're going to find out just how good South Range and Poland is on Friday night when you guys hook up at the brand new complex. And Coach, best of luck to you throughout the course of this season. Look forward to a great year from South Range this year.
Thank you so much, and thank you, YSN, for all you do and supporting South Range and all the high school sports. We really appreciate it.
There he is, the head football coach of the South Range Raiders, Dan Yeagley, joining us on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline. All right, so let's talk a little bit about this pay-per-view, because this is something that we have determined that with the OHSAA saying, hey, 15% of the fans are only allowed in the stands this year, and the fact that the OHSAA has given the folks that are video capabilities to do games live instead of tape delayed, we will have an opportunity to kill two birds with one stone. Now, all of our games are not just going to be audio, they're also going to be video. We will have a video capability at all of our football games. And for you folks that don't get an opportunity to see a high school football game, and again, I can't even begin to say how horrible that is. And Coach Yeagley brought up a really good guy, a friend, actually someone who we've both known for at least 50 years, Mr. Kurtz, who is close to 90, if not in his 90s. And he has watched South Range for the better chunk of 65, 70-plus years because he's lived in the Mahoning Valley his entire life. So, unfortunately, because he does not have a son, grandson, great-grandson, he might be one of those casualties in terms of fans that are not able to go see a game. And it's tough. It sucks. There's no two ways about this. But we here at YSN, we want to try to help things out. So this is what we are planning on doing. When you go and watch a game on YSN, it's now going to be $9.99, 25% of which, approximately $2.50, will go to the school of the school's athletic department. So, in other words, if you go to ysnlive.com, click on schools, and then the drop box drops down. Say you're a Leetonia fan, and you click on Leetonia. You would sign up using a credit card, and $2.50 of that $9.99 charge for that pay-per-view game would immediately go to the Leetonia athletic department. So 25% of the $9.99 goes to the athletic department of the team that you are a fan of, the team that you chose when you went to ysnlive.com, clicked on teams, and you picked the school. So here's the other thing that is very important. Again, when you go to ysnlive.com, you'll see a list of things at the top of the page, and one of the headings will be schools. You click on schools, a drop box drops down with all of the schools that are in the YSN family. You simply choose the program or the school that you are looking to watch, and you will fill out the information with a credit card and whatnot, and then you're able to watch that game. Now, it's important to realize that if you do this in the second half of a game, say you're late and you want to watch the rest of the game, it's going to cost you $9.99. Now, the good news is once the game is final and once it goes into the archives You can watch it because you signed up for it via the pay-per-view. You can watch that game on the archives. The other thing that I need to let everyone be aware of, if you sign up, say, using your smartphone or using your computer, whether it be a laptop or your home-based computer, whichever outlets, whichever toy gadget that you are signing up on, that's where you're going to be watching the game. Now, I'll throw this out here. If you happen to have an iPad or something similar to an iPad, or it's not really a laptop, I mean, it could be, but it's a pretty nice screen. Personally, I'm going to have my parents who want to see their grandson play for Crestview, I'm going to have them set up a laptop, or not laptop, their iPad. And we'll set this up where they pay the $9.99 using a credit card, and then they can watch the game on their iPad. If you use an iPad, if you use a laptop, fantastic. If you have a smartphone and you have capabilities to hook up your smartphone to your smart TV, you can put this through your phone into your television and watch the game. But it bears repeating, whichever gadget you're using, whether it's your smartphone, whether it's your iPad, whether it's your computer, laptop, or otherwise, whichever unit you are using or whichever unit you are going to ysnlive.com and paying for the pay-per-view, that is where you're going to be watching the games. In other words, if you sign up on your iPad but you want to watch the game on your computer, it's not going to happen. You're going to have to watch the game where you signed up. So make sure that when you do sign up for this, and again, it's $9.99 every single game. It'll be $9.99. And again, Coach Yeagley brought up something very interesting. $7 is the cost for an adult to watch a high school football game. $9.99 is not per person. $9.99 is for you to watch this pay-per-view event on your device, whether it be an iPad or whatever. If you want to have 4 or 5 people gathered around an iPad watching this game, it's going to be $9.99. Now, think about this. If you got 4 people watching this pay-per-view, 4 adults are normally $28 at the gate. You're saving about $19, $18. Actually, $18.01 if you want to be technical. You're saving a lot of money. So it's not $9.99 per person, it's $9.99 per computer or whatever system you're using. So if you and a significant other want to watch your nephew, grandson, whomever, and you're not wanting to go to the game because you don't have the tickets, you can go to ysnlive.com, click on schools, Dropbox will drop down, click on the team you're interested in seeing, and then fill out the information using a credit or a debit card, and then that unit in which you have used to get to the pay-per-view, that's what you're going to be watching the game on. And again, 25% of the $9.99, approximately $2.50, will go to the athletic department of the school that you chose. So if you're a Boardman fan and you don't have tickets to the Spartans game, but you want to see the Spartans and you want to pay the $9.99 to watch the Spartans on ysnlive.com, $2.50 of that $9.99 is going to go to the Boardman Athletic Department. Now consider this. If about 100 people sign up and watch a school, you're looking at $250 going to that school's athletic department. Now, obviously, that's going to go a ways, not a long ways, but it's going to go a significant way to shore up some of the lost money that these athletic directors and these school systems are going to be losing. I mean, let's be honest. Go to Mollenkopf. We'll use Mollenkopf as an example. Mollenkopf holds 12,000, upwards of 12,000 people. Now, they're saying that you're not able to get no more than 1,500. No more than 1,500 fans at a game. No matter the amount of people or that you can fit in a stadium, you can have no more than 1,500. And I believe Mollenkopf is somewhere between 12 and 14,000. So 1,500 is not even 15%. Assuming you get about 10,000 per game, that's about 8,500 less tickets at $7 a pop, $6 a pop. That's about $48,000, $49,000, $50,000 that the Warren City schools are not going to be getting. However, if a ton of people purchase a particular game, we'll use Fitch as an example. Fitch, their stadium holds about 12. Say they hold 12,000. You're only allowed to get in 1,500. So on a Fitch rivalry game night, you're looking at 10,000 people in the stands. Again, 7,500 people that are not going to be able to go to the game because of this. If they all go to ysnlive.com, click on Austin Town Fitch, click on schools, and the drop box goes down, click on Fitch. There you go. $2.50 per buy will be going to the athletic department. At least they'll be able to recoup some of the lost money that they're going to be losing this year. So, again, if you're unable to get tickets to a high school football game, you're wanting to see a significant other, or not a significant other, you're wanting to see a loved one play, and you're not able to see that team because the tickets are just not available, YSN is going to be doing a pay-per-view this season. And hopefully the OHSAA will allow video for many years to come. I'm not sure if this is a one-year proposition because of COVID. I don't know. But what I do know is we are allowed to do live video for high school football, and we could not be happier. All right, 330-886-0813. Let's go to the phone lines. Tony, you're on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline. What's going on, Tony?
Hey, Ron, doing a great job today, and thanks for explaining the ins and out of the system. First of all, are you going to have a season package for this thing? As somebody who may want to flip-flop between games and catch bits and pieces of different games?
Honestly, I have no idea. That's a DJ Yoakley question, and I don't even want to bother doing a guess on that because that's not up on my pay grade.
Oh, just throwing it out there because a lot of those packages, that's why people get them. Just throwing it out there. And you said you're going to have audio. I expected just video. Where are you going to get 50 or however? How many games you cover in a week? 25?
No, it's anywhere from 25, if not more. It just depends on which teams in our vast array of teams are playing each other. I think we have a little over 50 teams, so assuming that a lot of them are playing each other, we're probably minimum 25, 26 games will be on YSN this every Friday.
Yeah, the math works out that way. But where are you going to get this many commentators?
Oh, we already have them. That's the one thing about YSN. They hire some commentators, and they may not be the folks at a broadcasting school or anything like that. They just they wanted to be a part of calling games, and there's a lot of folks that are going to be taking part in this. Some that have been doing it for a few years, and some that are just going to be in their first year this week. So it'll be entertaining to hear some of the broadcasters doing the games for some of these teams.
Huh? Will you be doing any of them or not?
I'm going to be doing Crestview. My season opens up on Friday night in Champion. Since Champion does not have a football broadcaster, and mainly if you're on the road, if your team is on the road, normally you would not be broadcasting games unless the home team does not have a broadcaster. Then they would go with the visiting team to do the games, and because of that, Champion does not have a broadcaster for YSN, so we are going to be doing the game from Champion.
Oh, fantastic! Hey, one other thing, and just throwing this out there, I don't know how people make money in these businesses, and I know typically it's because of advertising, and you guys are doing it probably without advertising or minimal advertising if people are paying for to sign on to it. But has somebody thought about doing a game of the week to, like that crack, to get somebody addicted to it?
Well, the game of the week was going to be a definite, but then when the OHSAA sat back and said, "Hey, we're going to allow video," that kind of went out the window, because now everyone is going to be doing video, and all of our games are going to be live with video. So there's no need for a game of the week. We're just going to have.
Well, I was just saying, offer up a free game of the week, and just as a inducement to get people listening and watching. So, just throwing it out there.
Yeah. Well, we are going to have on our free site ysnlive.com. You'll be able to see Mike Ackelson as he is going to be doing what we like to call the Red Zone channel. As we're going to have Mike Ackelson do something similar to the Red Zone channel. He is going to be on, and the plan for this is to go to every single game in which teams are about ready to score. They will go directly to that site, and on the free site, you'll be able to, if you watch this, you'll be able to see all of the teams scoring. So it's going to be something that I have. Something that I wanted to see folks do in terrestrial radio, but we for whatever reason they didn't want to do it. So I'm looking forward to Mike Ackelson doing his thing on Friday when he is in studio, and we're going to have a lot of fun with that.
Oh, fantastic! And I on your show today, I miss Anthony. I know he's the tech guy who handles all this stuff.
Yep, he's doing a lot of the behind-the-scenes tech work, and he contributes in the content into our website. So, he's busy on Tuesdays and Thursdays for sure.
Fantastic. One real quick comment on the pro football, and it's kind of a spinoff of what we talked about briefly yesterday. There's a reason I transitioned from being a Browns fan to a Buffalo Bills fan. And one of the reasons is the media that covers it. I have never heard such negative media input regularly than I do from Cleveland Browns media. It's almost like they have to say something negative, say something negative rather than search for something positive to say. Last year, one of the big deficits on the Browns was their defensive line. Ogba's got a Super Bowl ring right now. Though he didn't get to play in the game, he had a big season last year. They basically, in my opinion, gave him away. And the guy they definitely gave away is now making $25 million on a 3-year contract. That would be, Carl Nassib, who they threw away. So the negativity just wears thin for a fan. And I think that the media in Buffalo, though difficult, though challenging, is fair and supportive of the team.
Well, look, the Bills, in all fairness, in the last 3 years, the Bills have had a far better product than the Browns have. Now, if you want to go back from 99 to 2017 or 2016, you can make an argument that the Bills were right up there with the Browns in futility, because the Bills had some pretty lean years in football, and they were every bit as god-awful in some regards as the Browns. Now, with Buffalo, they've figured things out. Now, the 2017 season, you get to the playoffs basically because of your defense, and you were able to, you're able to get postseason. Tyrod Taylor wasn't all that great. They knew they were going to be getting rid of him at the end of the 2017 season. They knew they were going to be taking a step backward in 2018 to take a giant step forward in 2019. I guess the bottom line, there is much more trust in the Bills front office because of the cohesiveness, the continuity, and the fact that Terry and Kim Pegula, though they've been a disaster as owners of the Buffalo Sabres, they haven't been that disaster as the owners of the Buffalo Bills, although one can argue that they lucked into McDermott and they lucked into Bill Bean, Bean as their general manager, and hopefully they're going to take care of Bean very, very quickly with an extension if they haven't already. There's no continuity in Cleveland, and I don't know. Are they going to have some continuity? I think they're in the right direction as long as Haslam doesn't stick his nose where it doesn't belong and he lets his general manager and his coach do their job. I think the Browns are on the right path. It's just they have an owner that has not done a very good job of staying away from the situation where Buffalo figured it out, and now they're in a much, much better place than Cleveland is.
But they stay away from it when Dorsey came in, and there was a lot of goodwill. But I know for a fact that if Josh Allen, I'm a fan, he's still a work in progress. We don't know what he's going to end up being. Keeps going in the right direction, seemingly. If he would have been dropped into Cleveland, the kid would have been run out of town on a rail.
Well, again, I don't know. I mean, he's better than Baker right now. Baker had a much better rookie year than Allen did, but Allen took a gigantic step forward. He's still not a finished product, and I still don't think he's a franchise quarterback quite yet, but he's getting there. Baker took a gigantic step backward for a lot of reasons, the biggest of which is he was a little porky, and his offensive line was garbage thanks to a very controversial and frankly a very stupid trade by their general manager, which turned out to bite him in the backside and ultimately turned out to be the reason or one of the reasons why he's no longer the general manager of the Browns.
One of the things as Bills fans, and you're a lot longer-term Bill fan than I am, we have to be concerned with is one of the teams that made great progress in this offseason was the Miami Dolphins defensive line. What a unit they put together. That's where Ogba is right now, by the way.
Yeah, they're good. Yeah, they're good. I mean, they're young everywhere else, but I think they're still a year away. But yeah, Miami's definitely trending in the right direction.
There you go. So, and one more thing, and I haven't brought him up, but it's going to come back, and it's always my general, because of my disdain for the way people treated him in Cleveland, I will be talking about Corey Coleman again this year, my friend.
Why? He's useless.
He's back.
He's useless.
He's back from his ACL.
He's useless.
His biggest problems have been his injury problem.
And the fact that he can't catch anything.
He seemingly couldn't catch, but they seem to love him in New York, the Giants.
Yeah, well, again, he can't catch anything. He and Njoku are the same product. They're wonderful to look at, but neither one of them can catch anything.
You really do need to get a job up in Cleveland covering the Browns.
Njoku. Here's the thing that Njoku had the stones to sit back and say, because the Browns acquired a better tight end from Atlanta, he had the stones to sit back and say, well, I want out of Cleveland. Wait a second. This tells me all I need to know about you. just because a team brings in another tight end doesn't mean that you go into a corner in a fetal position sucking your thumb saying, oh, I don't want to be on this team anymore. If it were me, and again, I am far from a professional athlete, but I got a mentality of, okay, you want to bring someone else in? Let me show you what I can do, and I'm going to push this guy right out of this ball club and right out of your plans because I'm going to step my game up 100-fold. And Njoku didn't even think like that.
But you're trying to read into what Njoku's thinking. He may have not wanted to be in Cleveland for a while. This may have been his entree to broach the topic. Let's not make a narrative around what we may not know.
Yeah, but okay. Well, if that's the case, Tony, then he has to know by doing this right now, you're giving everyone the perception that you are a non-competitive milquetoast guy.
Yeah, I think general managers are smarter than that, we'll see. I'm a Njoku fan, by the way. I just love his athleticism.
You're a fan of guys.
He's got gifts from God that majority don't have.
You're a fan of guys that can't catch a ball. That's.
I'm a fan of guys that are running to the ground for reasons that they shouldn't be running to the ground. The comments on Njoku generally had nothing to do with his hands.
Well, yeah, that and the fact that he dances foolishly when he makes a catch and it's not just him. Trust me, I would not pick on just one person. This is rampant in the National Football League. Drives me nuts when a team is down by 2 or 3 touchdowns. They catch a pass, they get a first down, and you're celebrating like you've just invented the split the atom or something. Dude, your team is down 2 or 3 touchdowns. You got an insignificant first down in the grand scheme of things. Shut up, go back into the huddle and do it again.
The hate for Njoku started because he was a Sashi Brown draftee. That's my opinion. And because let's remember, he put up numbers better than Ozzie Newsome put up. Different eras, but he showed great potential. As a rookie.
I mean, look, it's a little bit unfair because in today's culture, it's pass first instead of run first when Ozzie was playing.
I agree. That's why I did note that, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
I debate fairly. That's the fun part of debating.
No, this is true. This is true. I was going to say, if you're comparing Njoku to Ozzie, I'm going to want the drugs that you're on because I may want to experiment with them. I'm just saying.
But he like a lot of people. I just pull for all these guys. I'm sorry.
No, I get it.
If you create a guy. If somebody creates a negative narrative about these guys, I'm just very sympathetic to the underdog.
Listen, I'm gonna take a page from your book as a Bills fan. I would love to see Robert Foster make this team. Now, I don't think he's going to because Robert Foster did next to nothing in his second year. He was a major disappointment. And this year, he began the year injured. Then he got a concussion. He's on a practice jersey, non-contact jersey. And he's frankly running out of time because the receiving core is now absolutely loaded. Not only is Robert Foster on the line, Duke Williams, who has the potential to be a really, really good wide receiver, but he's never lived up to his potential consistently. Both of these guys could very well be on the outside looking in when it's all said and done.
Which is sad for those two guys, because but you know what? Gabriel Davis came in, and apparently he's performing. He's just freakishly doing things right now.
Yeah, John Brown, I don't know if you saw this or not. John Brown early on in training camp said Gabriel Davis looks like a seasoned veteran. And you don't get comments like that in your rookie year, especially from a guy. Now, I know a lot of folks in the NFL are going to go, well, who the hell's John Brown? Well, he's going to be one of the best receivers that you've never heard of.
The scary thing is this Isaiah Hodgins. They got to find a way to keep him. He's fifth deep, at least fourth deep, or probably fifth deep in the receiver core, and he looks like he's going to be a freak in this league.
Yeah, well, and he's on the chopping block too. Robert Foster, and Duke Williams are all trying to battle for one spot, it would appear, because right now it looks like it's going to be Brown, Diggs, Cole Beasley, Gabriel Davis, and there's going to be one or two other wide receivers, and they're loaded. They're loaded in the wide receiving core, and there's going to be some teams that are going to be really interested in grabbing guys that are released from Buffalo, and that doesn't happen very often, especially the wide receiving core.
Yet. I mean, they still have the potential to trade some of these guys now. The only problem is they haven't had the opportunity to showcase any of these kids yet.
Well, and nobody's going to get an opportunity to showcase because we don't have an exhibition season. And under normal circumstances, man, this would be great news for the Bills because in normal circumstances, you're looking at 3 or 4 exhibition games. You get an opportunity to give those kids a look for the other 31 teams. Now, without any exhibition games, you now have no opportunity for these kids to get a look. So when they get released, and unless you can make a trade based upon their potential or based upon what they may or may not have done in Foster's case 2 seasons ago, in Duke Williams' case.
Duke Johnson does have some history.
Yeah, well, yeah, Duke had the last couple games of the regular season. Duke Williams was a fantastic talent. Early in the postseason against Houston, in the first half, he made some amazing catches, and then got stupid in the second half and dropped some pretty catchable passes from Allen.
They've also featured the 2 best catches are featuring these things. So you question why they're featuring them on YouTube right now, but he has the 2 best catches in their summer camp so far.
Well,
so,
and that's
they
one of
featured both of them.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons why Duke Williams right now has the inside track on Robert Foster. The fact that Robert hasn't been able to keep healthy, and Duke Williams is probably a step or 2 ahead of Foster right now. I absolutely love both of these guys, more for their potential more than anything else. And like I said, if one or both of these guys are cut by the Bills, I will guarantee you neither one of these guys will be on the practice squad because they will find a home somewhere else.
Hey, pivot real quick to college, and I'm sure there's other people want to get on, so I'll get off. But pivot real quick to college. Wake Forest caught my fancy last year. Problem with Wake Forest this year, this Newman quarterback they had, who was coming back as a senior, and he has 2 superstar receivers there who are going to go real high in the draft next year. They stayed at Wake Forest. He was a graduate transfer. Guess where he's playing this year?
Help me out. Where?
Georgia. It looks like he's the star. You don't know what's happening preseason, but
yeah.
he's pulling a Joe Burrow and doing the graduate transfer down there and to get featured in the SEC.
Hey, look, I mean, Georgia is the team to beat in the SEC East, and if he helps Georgia win the East and put a scare into whoever wins the West. And I'm going to tell you right now, people are going to sit back and say, okay, Alabama's got to be favored. LSU is going to take a drop back because they don't have their quarterback, and there's nobody remotely close to Burrow behind Burrow in Baton Rouge. So they're going to take a trip back to second or third in the SEC West. The team that I am really high on that I think is going to surprise the hell out of people, and I'm going to call my shot right now, the team that is going to upset Alabama at College Station, Texas A&M. That is a fun football team. That is a team that is going to be they are going to be a very difficult team to beat this year. And the former head coach at Florida State, who is that? Jimbo Fisher, I'm sorry. Jimbo has he's got the horses down in College Station. I would not be a bit surprised. And actually, the game's in Tuscaloosa. It tells me how much I know. I'm going to say A&M knocks off Alabama this year.
That'll be interesting. It's kind of hard following it right now. Actually, but I'm going to come back with a more obscure dark horse one of these days. I'll follow it pick somebody else a little more obscure than A&M.
Well, we only have a few more weeks, and again, keep in mind the conferences that I'm aware of right now they're going to be playing. We got the SEC, the ACC, the Big 12, Conference USA is playing, and the American Athletic Conference is playing. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm almost positive the rest of the mid-major conferences have canceled their season this year, or at least postponed it to spring.
One more real quick point on college football, and somebody made this point to me last night, and you never think about it. You always think D1 college football, they're prima donnas, they're nurtured, they're pampered. But he made the comment to me that D1 players football players are treated like dirt. They are run through the ringer compared to pro players. Pro players, you start the season, you got 53 guys, and you have an extended roster that you can pull from. But it's not 100 plus guys. D1. You know what? You get hurt, move over. Go rehab if you can, but we got somebody else right behind you.
Oh, yeah.
You're a piece of meat to those people.
Well, yeah, but you're also, if you're one of the 85 players that is on a full ride, you might be a piece of meat. But as I have said on a number of occasions, and you know that education is far more important in my eyes than anything else, including sports, the player that goes into college has to go into college with the attitude of, okay, you guys are going to use me for my athletic abilities. I'm sure as hell going to use you to get my college education.
Oh, good thing. Hey, I got to run, my friend. Get to somebody else.
All right, Tony. Appreciate it, brother. Tony checking in on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning hotline. Yeah, I'm not a fan, and nor will I ever be a fan of the argument of, well, college players need to be paid. No, they're getting paid. They're not getting paid monetarily, but you can bet they're getting paid. They're getting paid with a free education, which includes room, board, food. You have a tutor, which is something that no other students have unless you are failing miserably in a class and you need some help. These guys have tutors, study tables for all of the athletes, intercollegiate athletes. You have all the gear that you want, all the food that you want. You can essentially, you're getting a full ride scholarship, which if you're an out-of-stater going to Ohio State, that's about $60,000 that you're not going to be paying for, 20 years after you graduate college. Figure on a 4-year degree, spending about $250,000, by and large, somewhere in that vicinity. It's $250,000 you're not going to be paying back through student loans. So while they're not getting paid monetarily, oh, trust me, they're getting paid. And as I have said on so many occasions, and again, I'm more education than sports. I love sports, but if you're talking about a high school kid, you're talking about a college kid, especially if you're blessed enough to go to college, you better have the same mentality that the colleges have toward you. Tony brought up an excellent point. The kids that are on the scholarship or the kids that are playing college sports, yeah, you're just a piece of meat. You get hurt, move over. Someone else will take your place, and you can rehab or whatever, and we'll see you when you get healthy again. Okay. You have to have the same mentality. If you're going as a D1 player, and God bless anyone that can go play D1 sports, whether it be mid-major or big boy, or you're good enough to play first team 4 straight years in a big boy program. Look, God bless anyone that can do a D1 scholarship, full ride scholarship. But I'm going to tell you right now, whether you are the best of the best or you're someone that is never going to sniff the pros and you're just there as a fill-in or someone that's occasionally going to get into some playing time, you better believe the first thing that you need to do, other than your responsibilities of being part of that team, whether it's football, basketball, whatever. You own up to the complete ride that you're getting, where you're not going to pay anything for your college education. Take advantage of that. Use the university for your college education and then some. Because if they're using you for your athletic abilities, you damn sure better be using them for your diploma. Otherwise, why the hell are you going to college? What, to play a sport that you got a 98% chance that you're not going to be playing pros? And you're pissing away an opportunity to get a college degree, which in today's market is pretty much a prerequisite, unless you're in the, a plumber or an electrician or a trade school type of thing. If you're looking to go, into trade schools, hey, you do that. You're probably going to make more money, 19, 20 years of age once you get out of trade school. And college isn't for everyone. Trust me. I tried college, and I thought D stood for dandy and F stood for fabulous. That's all I'm going to say. But I wound up going to broadcasting school, and I wound up going into broadcasting at 19 years of age instead of waiting for 4 years. Now, would a college degree have opened up some doors? I don't know. And frankly, I don't care. I've been in this business for over 30 years. But the message that I have always given to the athletes, and look, we're here to promote players. We're here to promote the athletes in high school. And if you're blessed to go on to college and a parent of an athlete is listening in, listen real good. And you can say I'm being an a-hole, whatever. That's fine. I can take it. There's a 98% chance your kid's not going to go pro. If your kid's in college, there's a 98% chance, and that's being kind, that your kid's not going to go pro. So if this kid is going to be going into college and this kid happens to get a free ride going into college, take advantage of it. Take advantage of that. Go in and get your education. Because there's a 98% chance you're not going to be going pro anytime soon. And even if you do go pro, you're a major injury away from being a nobody. And then what do you fall back on? If you don't have an education, what are you falling back on? Well, let's be honest. I mean, if you're really, really good in college and you were the big man on campus, there's always going to be a home for you somewhere. Short term. I don't know about long term. I mean, we'll fill you in on a little secret. Stuff that happened 35, 40 years ago, it tends to disappear over time. Unless you did something monumental, it disappears over time. Give you a great example. When YSU went to the national championship, Kevin Rader made one of the greatest catches in the history of Youngstown State University football. Made a catch in the back of the end zone to beat Eastern Washington on the red turf. Caught the ball, secured it behind a defender. In other words, his hands were around the defender's waist, caught the ball, and secured the ball using the back of the defender. It was an unbelievable catch. Best catch I've ever seen in a YSU uniform. 20, 30 years from now, not as many people are going to remember that catch. Just being truthful. Not as many people are going to remember that catch. 40, 50 years from now, hardly anyone's going to remember that catch. Again, I'm just being truthful. If you're being used by the college for your athletic ability, you might as well use the college for their education. It blows my mind to see a guy or gal go into college on a free ride and not take advantage of the system, not take advantage of getting a free education. Are you kidding me? Okay, yeah, you're going to college for free because they love your athletic abilities. How in the world would you not want to get a degree from that college? Of course you got to take advantage of that. Especially, and again, I'll repeat it, 98% of the people that are on a full ride scholarship, they're not going to even sniff the pros. You're not going to get the pros money. I mean, you're looking at 1,000,000 to 1 shot there. It's not going to happen. It just isn't. The odds are against you. So have a backup plan just in case you're not one of the 2%. Have a backup plan. If you're not one of the 2% that goes on to be to professional career in a chosen sport, and by the way, if you are, man, you're in rarefied air. Even if you're on the bench for most of those games, you're still in rarefied air, still getting paid a ridiculous amount of money. Enjoy that. But if you're not good enough to be in the pros, at least get the education. Because that's plan B. All right, 330-886-0813. That's something that I've always said, and I know I was on my soapbox for a little bit there. That's just something that I firmly believe in. And being that we're a network that loves to promote the kids and the parents and if you're blessed to go to a college with a free ride, take advantage of the education part of it. All right, coming up on Friday, we made mention when Tony called in on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline. Mike Ackelson, our good friend, is back, and Mike Ackelson will be doing the audible call. Think of the Red Zone. If you're a fan of DirecTV and the Sunday Ticket, and part of the Sunday Ticket is the Red Zone, you have I think it's oh Lord, who the hell does the Red Zone? Kid with the big ears. Not sure what his name is, but he's got huge ears. Those ears are so big you could probably put up get Venezuelan TV on a satellite. I'm just saying. You get, if a team is in the Red Zone, you go to that particular venue. Well, it's going to be the same thing. Audible call with Mike Ackelson. We're going to have the capability, at least we're keeping our fingers crossed and praying to the football gods, small g, that we're going to have that capability. So let's say when I'm broadcasting the Crestview Champion game and let's say the Golden Flashes are in the Red Zone, they'll go to me. And everyone will get an opportunity to see on ysnlive.com, which, by the way, this is not part of the pay-per-view. If you want to watch Audible Call all night long, it's not going to cost you anything. That's going to be part of the free part of Friday nights with the Audible Call and Mike Ackelson. So Mike is going to be doing the thing, and man, it's going to be an awful lot of fun. I wish I could be there to watch this, but well, I'm going to be busy broadcasting the Crestview Rebels, who, by the way, have everybody back for the 2020 season, which is something that, look, I've been watching football for 40-plus years on the high school level. I've never seen, in 40-plus years, I have never seen a football program have everybody back, where there were no seniors from the year before, and everyone who played football last year is playing football this year, and you're going to have 11 starters back on offense, 11 starters back on defense. Yeah, they're a veteran team, you think? 330-886-0813. Back in a bit. It is a Tuesday edition of Running Point on ysnlive.com.
Friends, it's Mike Ditka, and I know great talent and heart when I see it. I can tell you from firsthand experience, there are average real estate agents, then there are true champions. Kelly Warren is one of those champions, and you have it right there in your own backyard. Kelly outmarkets and outsells every agent in the Mahoning Valley. If Kelly can't sell your home at a price and deadline you agree to, Kelly will buy it. Get your home sold. Call Kelly Warren today at 717-2689 or go online to kellysold.com and start packing.
You can feel it. Baird Brothers traditional craftsmanship. You can see it, Baird Brothers' timeless style. And you can afford it and find everything at BairdBrothers.com. Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods is real hardwood, yet beautifully affordable. Floors, moldings, interior doors, bar rails, and stair parts, all within your means and without a care. Start at BairdBrothers.com. You have made it your home.
Teams work hard and give it all they've got. Well, so does ours, because 21 Sports and YSN give you extra effort when covering local sports. 21 Sports and YSN, winning coverage of our Valley's teams.
It's a Tuesday edition of Running Point on YSNLive.com. The MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning hotline is open, 330-886-0813. That's 330-886-0813. With you till 3 o'clock, at which time not Running Point, good God. Power Hour will be coming up at 3 o'clock, and they will take you through the rest of this Tuesday afternoon. Again, lots of action going on in high school football this weekend. The big news, and this might be a prelude of things to come for some teams. Again, you don't know on a week-in, week-out basis if a team is going to be playing based upon the fact that you could have a COVID outbreak, I should say. And you honestly don't know if you're going to be playing a team on your schedule, or if you're going to have to get creative. Warren Harding had to get creative. They were supposed to play Cleveland Heights this weekend, and unfortunately, Cleveland Heights backed away from the game for undisclosed reason, and that left Harding without a team, without an opponent for week number 1. Now, fortunately for Harding, there was a team up in Cleveland that was without an opponent in week number 1 as well, in Cleveland Benedictine. So Harding is going to be playing Benedictine on Saturday night at Mullenkopf Stadium. But, Harding was preparing themselves for Cleveland Heights. Now they're getting a team that is, I don't want to say substantially better, but certainly a better program, historically speaking. They are a better program, and Warren Harding will be taking on a very tough Benedictine team. And you take a look, we've talked about tough schedules and South Range and everyone in the NE8. That's a tough schedule. Because the NE8 is a very tough conference, top to bottom. You take a look at the Harding schedule. Let me throw this schedule out your way here, because this is a good schedule for Harding. They will open up the season against Cleveland Benedictine at Mullenkopf. Instead of Cleveland Heights, where they would have to go up to Cleveland, now they're going to be home to Cleveland Benedictine. Then they take on Cardinal Mooney. Then they're going to go to Massillon and take on the Massillon Tigers. They'll go to Austintown and take on a pretty good Fitch team. Ursuline, who's offensively, everyone is raving about Coach Reardon and the offense with Ursuline, remains to be seen. We'll see how well they are. But Ursuline has a lot of kids back, and they're supposed to be a pretty decent team. They're going to be up at Mullenkopf. And then Harding closes out the 6-game regular season against Akron St. Vincent St. Mary. Yeah, that's a pretty good schedule. That's a pretty good schedule. That's a solid schedule right there. That's one of the better schedules in the area. They make no bones about that. That is a solid schedule. So Harding will be playing on Saturday night against Benedictine, and that should be a fun game. Should be a very, very good game, and we'll see what happens with Warren Harding as we go through the 2020 season. A lot of teams that I think are going to be fun to watch, and I'd love to hear a couple of teams in your thought process as we are, 2 days away from high school football, at least for Canfield and Howland. They play each other Thursday night. Ursuline will play Cheney. Niles is playing Jefferson. Sebring is playing McDonald. And Dover is playing Louisville. So the 5 games that we're going to have in the YSN family, 5 pretty decent games. So we'll definitely have stuff to talk about on Friday with the results of those games, plus a plethora of games that will be played on Friday night. So should be an awful lot of fun as we embark on week number 1 of the high school football season. If you want to talk some high school football, give me a shout on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning hotline, 330-886-0813. That's 330-886-0813. Definitely wanted to talk Indians. Middle game of the series tonight for Cleveland, and pretty much a must-win for the Indians tonight and tomorrow if the Indians want to gain ground on Minnesota. The Twins knocked off the Indians last night 3-2. The Indians have played 29 games this year. In 14 of their 29 games, the Indians have scored 2 runs or less. That is pathetic, kids. That is absolutely pathetic. That the Indians' offense, or lack thereof, has scored 2 runs or less in approximately half of their season to this point. By the way, in the 14 games in which the Indians have scored 2 runs or less, the Indians are 4-10. And it's amazing that they have 4 wins. You can basically put the hat on the best pitching staff in Major League Baseball as the reason why the Indians have 4 wins when scoring 2 runs or less. By the way, when the Indians score 4 or more runs, they have done that 14 times in 29 games. I know a lot of people are saying, my God, this team has only scored 2 runs or less in 14 of the 29 games. Well, let's take a look at the glass half full. Because in fairness, the Indians have scored 4 or more runs in just as many games. 14 of the 29. By the way, the Indians' record, 12 wins, 2 losses. It's amazing what the Indians can do when they score 4 or more runs. 12-2, and again, they're pretty much an automatic. At 12 wins, 2 losses, what is that? At least an 800 winning percentage. 12 out of 14 is an 857 win percentage. If you put that out over 60 games, if the Indians were to score 4 or more runs every single game this year in a 60-game season, based on the winning percentage that they have right now, the Indians would be 51-9 this year. That's the win percentage. That's what it breaks down to. 51-9. That's unbelievable. That would be, oh my Lord, that would be an incredible season. Now, sadly, this team doesn't score 4 or more runs every single night. As I've made mention, they have scored 2 runs or less in 14 of the 29 games, 4 or more runs in 14 of the 29 games, and in one game, they scored exactly 3 runs. By the way, the Indians won that game. It's amazing to me that this team is 17-12. Absolutely amazing. Middle game of the series, Bieber on the hill for the Tribe tonight. Hopefully the Indians give Bieber enough offense so the Indians can win this ball game. Last night, the lack of hitting with a runner in scoring position The situational hitting was straight garbage. And unfortunately, because the Indians lost this game, the Wednesday game, you're going to have to pitch Mike Clevenger. If you want a better than average chance to win this game, you're probably going to have to pitch Clevenger, or you're going to have to go to Plesac. You don't want to go to Adam Plutko. We made mention of this early on in the show today. Adam Plutko is a relief pitcher. He's a long relief pitcher, and the numbers, they bear repeating. The first time through the lineup, Adam Plutko serves up a .229 batting average against the league. .229 the first time through the lineup. That's a solid number. It's not as great a number as one would think, but .229, it's acceptable. It's more than acceptable. It's a solid number. But that's the first time through the lineup. Second time through the lineup, the league is hitting .423 off of Plutko. Now, let's put this in perspective. If you go the first time through the lineup, at the very most, you're talking about 3 innings of pitching. If you're 9 up, 9 down, that's the best you can do. That's 3 innings worth of pitching. More often than not, you're probably going 2+ innings first time through the lineup. Plutko's numbers, .423, second time through the lineup. That screams bullpen. That screams use Plutko for no more than 3 innings. In all likelihood, you're probably 2 innings, maybe 3 if he's retired 9 guys in a row. But the second time through the lineup, I'm not pitching this guy more than 3 innings out of the pen. And then you take a look at a guy like Carlos Carrasco. Now, Carrasco is a veteran. I know a lot of people are worried about him because his last 3 outings have not been good outings. Well, Cookie has not lost any velocity. I'm not concerned with his health because he's still throwing 94, 95 miles an hour. His velocity's still there. So it's not like last year where he was throwing upper 80s and then you're like, oh, okay, there's something wrong with him. He's not able to get his fastball anywhere close to where he normally throws it. There's something physically wrong with him. And then ultimately they found out that Carrasco was dealing with leukemia. Carrasco's fine health-wise. He's fine. He's throwing 95 miles an hour. It's just Carlos Carrasco through his career has always had a stretch, 3 or 4 consecutive games where he's had a difficult time finding the plate consistently, where he's throwing a high number of pitches and he's getting hit around a little bit more. But take a look at Carrasco's numbers this year. First time through the order, opposing hitters are hitting a .171 off Carlos. That's crazy good. Second time through the lineup, opposing hitters are hitting .184. Still great. It's sub 200. Sign me up. Third time through the lineup, .350. Now, that tells me Carrasco is no more than 6 innings. Unless he's in cruise control and he's having a stellar day in which you can just let Cookie go as long as he continues to be stellar, normally you're probably looking at no more than 6 innings from Carrasco, which is okay because the Indians have a great bullpen. But there's a big difference between Carrasco and Plutko. And the idea of Plutko being in the rotation, no, absolutely not. He's a long relief pitcher, no more than 3 innings, because after the first time through the lineup, everyone got a book on him, and they just tattoo the crap off of Plutko. Which leads me into Wednesday. Plutko is the scheduled starter. I hope that the Indians are not going to go Plutko in game number 3 because he'll get destroyed by this Minnesota team. He will get annihilated by the Twins. He'll get annihilated. As much as it pains me to say, hey, we should probably call up Clevenger, because the Indians lost game 1, if you want to make up ground, you got to win these next 2 games. Indians have to win tonight and tomorrow in order to gain a game on the Twins. Otherwise, they'll lose a game. If they drop 2 out of 3, they'll have dropped a game in the standings. If they get swept, they'll drop 3 games in the standings. So instead of being a game and a half out, they'll be 4.5 games out. And forget about the division. And then you have to worry about the team that is right now dead even with the Indians, and a team that I think is going to be a pain in the ass the rest of the year, and that's the Chicago White Sox. The White Sox are going to be there. Now, they might run out of gas in September. Depends on what they do with the trade deadline. If they stay with what they have and the Twins and the Indians get better and shore up a weakness, and hopefully the Indians do get better by trading away one of our starters for a bat. And look, I make no bones about this. If it were me, and I know Jason Lloyd from The Athletic, who I respect tremendously, his opinion is different than mine. Based on what Clevenger did and based on the fact that he lied to his teammates, threw everyone under the bus, including Plesac, I don't think that he can come back and be the same guy that everyone is just going to forget about his transgression. I don't think that's going to be the case. And I think that the Indians can absorb a hit with Clevenger out of their rotation. Now, again, you'd have to put Plesac in the rotation, and that's fine. Look, I've said this last week. I said it yesterday. I'll say it until the trade deadline. When I have both of these guys, I'm more adept at keeping the 25-year-old that did his own stupid stuff, but he's young. He's young and stupid. Young and stupid can be fixed. Young and stupid can be fixed. Veteran and stupid can't be fixed. If you're a veteran and you did something incredibly stupid where you lied to your teammates and you put some people at risk, you're a veteran. There's no excuse for you. That was just flat out stupid. And I don't care if you've apologized a million times over. That's going to hang over Clevenger's head as long as he is a Cleveland Indian. That incident, whether it's fair or not, that incident is going to hang over his head for the rest of his career if he stays in Cleveland. And I just don't believe that if you were to have an honest conversation with his teammates, I don't think that his teammates are going to have his back. Just my opinion. I could be wrong on that. Hell, I've been wrong before. If the Indians it's obvious they need a bat, preferably in the outfield, because the outfield has been downright embarrassing this year. The lack of hitting in the outfield has been absolutely embarrassing. Look, the lack of hitting everywhere has been embarrassing. But it's specifically in the outfield. If the Indians can fetch a reasonably young or veteran outfielder that is in his prime and is putting up good numbers or has the history of putting up good numbers. Yes, I'm looking at you, J.D. Martinez, who has not heated up yet in Boston. And you add a minor league player. Yes, I'm looking at you, Jeter Downs, who the Boston Red Sox acquired in the Mookie Betts trade that sent Betts out to Los Angeles. If I were to look at Boston and say, hey, J.D. Martinez and Jeter Downs for Mike Clevenger, are you in? And Boston says, yes, I couldn't do that deal fast enough. I'll take J.D. Martinez. I'll put him in at the designated hitter spot. I'll have Reyes play every day in left field, and we'll go from there. We'll go from there. J.D. Martinez is a middle-of-the-lineup guy, and he can carry a team. Just like Franmil Reyes, he can carry a team, and he can very much wake up this offense. And by the way, speaking of waking up, even though it was a losing effort last night, Lindor is starting to wake up. And I can tell this because he's going the opposite way with some of his pitches. The last two hits that he had in his last two at-bats last night, both of those hits were opposite field base hits. That's when Lindor is at his best. Lindor is starting to come out of this. That could be good news, because if Lindor starts getting going and you can get Ramirez going again, he was going for a while there. He and Cesar Hernandez, and then Ramirez started going into the tank. Carlos hasn't hit the ball well, though he's getting on base at a ridiculous rate because of his walks. Franmil Reyes has cooled off as of late. But if Lindor can get some of these guys going and get this offense going, Indians are in good shape. But long term, the Indians need one or two more bats. If they can get a serious thumper, a J.D. Martinez, a Nicholas Castellanos, someone of that ilk, yeah, I'd do the deal in a heartbeat. I mean, it's no secret Cincinnati is probably out of it, although, I mean, look, top two teams get into the playoffs automatically. They're within shouting distance of the second place team in the National League Central. Would they give up Castellanos and one of their minor leaguers, one of their top 10 type prospects, or two top 20 type prospects for a Clevenger? Don't know. I'll tell you this, if you have Clevenger and Bauer in that Cincinnati rotation, along with Sonny Gray, you have my attention. You do have my attention. I know Atlanta needs an arm. Atlanta desperately needs an arm. And Atlanta's got some really good young talent. Now, again, does it help the Indians this year? I mean, go back to the Bauer deal. Did the Bauer deal help the Indians last year? Well, they got Franmil Reyes. But they also got some pieces that are going to be useful down the road. I think that if the Indians were to make a deal with Clevenger, and by the way, they're not making a trade unless they get what they want to get for Clevenger. They're not dealing Clevenger because they have to deal him. No, the only way they deal Mike Clevenger is if they get exactly what they want for Clevenger or Plesac or whoever. Look, I don't think this is going to happen. As a matter of fact, I would be really disappointed if it did happen. And there's people saying, hey, Tristan McKenzie had an unbelievable start. Maybe Tristan McKenzie should be traded. To which I look at people and go, are you out of your mind? No. And maybe it's because in the last 4 years I've been touting this guy. And look, I kind of know a thing or two about baseball. Lord knows I've been around the game on a professional level for a long period of time. I kind of know what I'm talking about. I'm not on the mark all the time, but I'll tell you this, and I have no problems saying this and believing this. Tristan McKenzie is going to be a better pitcher than any pitcher on the Indians rotation right now, including Shane Bieber. McKenzie has a higher ceiling than any of these pitchers. Better than Savali, better than Plesac, better than Bieber, better than Clevenger, better than Carrasco, better than any of the starting pitchers. Tristan McKenzie's problem has been his lack of staying healthy. But what you saw Saturday night wasn't an accident. Now, I'm not saying that you're going to see that every time out, but Tristan McKenzie is an elite starting pitcher, and he has ace stuff. And his ceiling is higher than any pitcher in the Indians organization. Now, the caveat is when he's healthy. And hopefully, fingers crossed, pray to the baseball gods, small g, that Tristan McKenzie is healthy. There's no way I trade Tristan McKenzie. Absolutely not. There's no way I trade McKenzie. I would be stunned if the Indians do something like that. Much the same way with Nolan Jones. Nolan Jones is the future of this team. And I understand, okay, if you want to go out and you want to get a stud everyday outfielder, it may cost you something. And if the Indians don't want to trade away any of their starting pitching, they may have to go the route of Nolan Jones. Okay, I get that. Just my personal opinion. Clevenger is not here long term. He can't be. The trust that he has broken in that clubhouse, like I said, it's going to hang over his head for the rest of his career in Cleveland. That's hanging over his head. Whether people can sit back and the players can say, hey, we're good with him. He apologized. We're good with him. Everything is hunky dory. No, if you put truth serum into these guys. Here's the thing that people need to understand about a professional clubhouse, especially in baseball. If you lie to someone in that clubhouse, that trust that you've earned is gone. And it is a really, really long road to get that trust back, if you can at all. That's why I think the Indians are more than likely going to deal Clevenger away. And if you're an Indians fan and Clevenger pitches on Wednesday, which it wouldn't surprise me if he does. Wouldn't surprise me if he pitches on Wednesday because it's August 26th. It would be his last chance to do something before the August 31st trade deadline. If Clevenger pitches on Wednesday and he's lights out, I think he's gone before Monday. Before the trade deadline. I think he gets traded away. Just my opinion. All right, we're going to take a final timeout and be back to wrap this Tuesday edition of Running Point Up. MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline open 330-886-0813. Back in a bit. Stick around.
21 News.
Let's get right to our top story tonight.
More experienced reporters.
A new Wilmington restaurant.
Lordstown.
Telling more local stories.
We'll look at efforts
boy is recovering from a broken
around our valley.
Community in Niles Point. Here in Youngstown, right up.
Because you expect
It's important for everyone. No place like home.
more local news.
In Mercer County Court.
21 News is our valley's #1 local news.
Welcome home to a home made homier with Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods. Inspiration starts at BairdBrothers.com and is turned into reality when high-quality hardwoods are delivered right to your home. Baird Brothers has the latest design trends, shiplap and skinny lap interior siding, antique oak rustic flooring, and, well, you'll find them all at BairdBrothers.com. Ordered easily, delivered conveniently, enjoyed comfortably. BairdBrothers.com.
Hello, I'm Greg Burbick with G. Burbick Farms. For the last 100 years, my family has farmed in the Columbiana and Mahoning counties. I began raising cattle in 1996 with the goal of providing a better product for you and your family on the dinner table. Our grass-fed and grain-supplemented Black Angus beef are raised with no hormones, steroids, or antibiotics. We're known for our hometown-friendly service and incredible tasting products. We're locally owned and have customers across the tri-state area. Our products go from our farm to your family. Stop by our farm on New Buffalo Road or visit us on the web at gburbickfarms.com. Don't forget to like us on Facebook. G. Burbick Farms, it just tastes better.
Getting set to close up shop on this Tuesday edition of Running Point on ysnlive.com. Anthony will be back. Anthony Hardwig will be back tomorrow. On tomorrow's program, we will say hello as our weekly guest, Brian Tolnar from Mill Creek. And, boy, if you have not seen their cart paths yet, oh, man, are these cart paths sweet. Very, very well done by the folks that are doing this. The capital improvements that are going on at Mill Creek Golf Course. They showed the cart paths on the Twitter account, and my goodness, do they look good. So we'll catch up with Brian Tolnar. The BMW Championship is taking place, and we made mention yesterday. Jason Kokrak wound up finishing in the top 70 after his outing in Boston. And he was able to finish at 13 under par, put him in a tie for 13th place. Dustin Johnson tore the place up with a 30 under par. My goodness, that was phenomenal. And because of Kokrak's finish, he was able to put himself into 66th place. So because of that, he is able to golf this week in the BMW Championship. And for Jason to put himself into the top 30, he's probably going to have to win the tournament, if not finish in the top 3 to have any kind of a chance to get into the top 30. So we'll catch up with Brian Tolnar, and we'll talk about the BMW Championship coming up this weekend on the PGA Tour. We will also catch up with a couple of other high school coaches. We'll go as much as we can with high school football and their coaches around the area, as we'll get as many of them on as possible. Keep in mind, some of these coaches are doing some teaching, and, well, school is in session for some of these schools, so we're hopefully going to be able to get as many on between now and Friday. We'll try to book some people for the rest of the week and try to get as many of those coaches on as humanly possible. That'll do it for the show today. Many, many thanks to our guest, John Mang from the Mahoning Valley Athletic Conference. He is also the official assigner for the Mahoning Valley referees. He joined us at 12:15 today. TV 21 Sports Director Dana Balish checked in at 1, being that he was not able to check in yesterday. And we want to thank South Range head football coach Dan Yeagley for checking in at 1:20. Power Hour is coming up next. Enjoy the rest of your Tuesday. Anthony and I will be back tomorrow. Same bat time, same bat channel, noon to 3, Running Point on YSN Live.